Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and Joe Dehls. And this is now episode 287. In this episode, we're going to talk about Miami's Game 2 win over Denver, Kyrie recruiting LeBron to Dallas, Kerr calling out Warriors young players, give out our early NFL MVP picks, and more. This is now episode 287. And make sure you guys are liking the episode. Make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel. Give our podcast a 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and let's get into some Patreons. Let's read some Patreons. Our top tiers. You know we got to. So, top tiers. Reading them out. Daniel Nowalczyk, Evan Thomas, Jacob Adams, Nazir Mitchell, Nick, Tanner Lawson, Vincent Munoz, Alex Viveros, Big Sheaf, Boogavelli, Cade MVP, Christian Flores, Dana, Darius Garland's next, David DeRizzo, Die Sometimes, Doug, Akari, Hunter, Latif, M. Booze, P. Dot, Patrice, Professor X, Put Your Feet on the Phone, Riv Looks Like Dyson Daniels, Ryan Barcelona, Santos, The Goat, TJ Rose, Trendell, UK Boge, YSN, and that's it. Top two tiers. Top two tiers get a shout out on our episodes. Mm-hmm. Top two Patreon tiers get the shout out. The first tier you get access to our Discord, and we definitely got to record Patreon another episode a month for the Patrons, man. It definitely has to.
I'll believe it when I see it, man. I will believe it when I see it.
Busy. Once maybe NBA season's over, draft season's over. That's when we started last year. It was in the summer. We had some extra time. Now we got BR, we got playback, we got NBA finals, NBA playoffs, live reactions. There's so much going on.
And we got playback actually. Riv and I don't know if you guys are going to be able to watch with us, but we're gonna watch old games. We're gonna break down old games, watch those, relive some really good memories. Do you have
one in mind?
Off the top of our head, we had the 2010 Game 7 NBA Finals. We had the 2007 Game 6 performance, LeBron versus the Pistons. Which other game did we
had the 08 Celtics Bulls Game 6 game?
When you watch the 2018 West Conference Finals Game 7, I'll pull up.
2018?
We can watch that one too.
I'm not watching that garbage. I want people to show up, look at good basketball, not people grabbing other people's arms and looking for a foul or shooting 40-foot step backs. I don't want to see that.
2018, if we're going to watch anything, it's going to be
the game one of the NBA Finals. That's because it exposes your favorite team. That's what it does.
Listen, man. Get over it.
It exposed 2019, round one.
We're on a 3-episode streak of the 2018 conference finals.
Get over it, bro.
I haven't mentioned the Beard's name yet, though.
Oh, it's very obvious who you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, of course. It has to be. Now, Dehls, Game 3, NBA Finals. Let's get into these Boom Fantasy picks, then we're going to get right into the show, recapping Game 2 and giving our predictions for Game 3.
Absolutely. So, Game 2... won't recap the picks. You guys didn't do so hot. But anyway.
I didn't. Hey, me and Riv won.
I thought you didn't.
No, Bam Adebayo assists.
Oh, I didn't win. Facts. It was just Mr. Moran.
I won Game 1.
I don't remember what your other pick was off the top of my head.
It was an over. I couldn't pick two people. I couldn't pick Bam twice, right?
No.
Should we start with Bam? Arguably MVP of the series so far if they end up winning, even though Gabe Vincent.
My shit was Gabe Vincent over.
Oh, there you go. Oh, so you locked.
You're him?
What?
No, but you had to choose the other team. It wasn't Gabe Vincent.
Originally it was, and I made you switch.
Was it Aaron Gordon's rebounds?
Did you choose one person to make it 3? Aaron Gordon won 3?
It wasn't that.
I'll make it easy.
I deaded that though.
I'm gonna make it easy. I'm gonna do my parlay. I lost because I had Aaron Gordon over on his points, and he didn't get his points. I'm gonna go Jokic over on his assists for Game 3. Yes.
Right now, Jokic is at 10 assists.
Oh, wow. What's MPJ's points?
You didn't even look at the line.
Yeah, that's a nuts.
MPJ is at
What's Jimmy's
14.5 points.
You know, Dehls.
I'm not taking Jokic's
Jimmy's
assists.
points is at 25.5.
Okay.
I'm going to take MPJ over on his points. I think he needs to have a bounce-back game.
He does.
And I'm going to trust him for Game 3.
I don't know if I feel confident
2.5 threes.
I mean, he did say when I have Gabe Vincent over me, I feel like I'm going to make that shot every time. So I understand. He's going to keep shooting that shit. That's what he's telling me.
Low-key talking that shit. They were like, KCP said we played horrible in Game 2.
And what's Duncan's line for Game 3?
I was just looking. Duncan's at 7.5 points. He's also at 1.5 3-pointers.
2 threes, I'm taking that
What's
at home.
KCP's threes?
I'm taking that home. So MPJ points
1.5.
and Duncan Robinson to hit 2 threes. That's my
Jimmy's
two-leg
you know what? I smell a Jimmy game.
Okay.
So I'm going to go Jimmy over on his points.
First game at home?
Yeah. I think first game, atmosphere is here. Finals back in Miami. It's been a long time. The bubble, they was in Orlando or wherever that was. So it's a different vibe back in Miami. DJ Khaled's going to be at the game. D-Wade's going to be at the game. Rick Ross is going to be at the game.
Khaled.
Yeah, DJ Khaled. It's going to be lit. So you know what? I'm going to go Jimmy over with the points, and I'm going to take KCP over with the threes. I'm smelling the Jimmy Butler game.
Okay. All right.
You got something cooking, Drew?
I'm going to be honest. I'm looking at these lines.
We have matchups here. We have first half, first quarter. Anything catch your eye?
What are you cooking?
I don't love these lines. Not really. The ones that are intriguing are ones that really are out of the ordinary. More so Kevin Love under turnovers, Duncan Robinson under turnovers, for the fact that Miami really does not turn the ball over at all. That's really what's been one of their strengths this entire postseason
They're both
run.
at 0.5 turnovers.
0.5. To go one for the Nuggets and go one for Miami, I will be taking I'm thinking Nikola Jokic PRA 50.5. It's insanely high, but the way that he's been scoring, the way that he's needed to score the basketball, I'm intrigued to go that route. So you know what? 50.5. It's a lot. I'm going with the over. And then for Miami, Bam Adebayo really has been great. You guys learned instead of 3.5, it's 4 assists. That's intriguing also for the fact that he really has arguably been Miami's best playmaker. Bam under 2.5 turnovers. I think I like that. I'm gonna go Bam under 2.5 turnovers.
Oh, under.
Okay.
I thought you meant say or.
No, bro. I'm saying Miami really has limited
If they
the turnovers.
acknowledge screen assists, Bam would average 14 assists a game.
They do not acknowledge screen assists as assists.
Sorry.
Can
It's a
guarantee
shame
that.
they don't do it for Rudy Gobert either.
Max Strus 10.5 is intriguing too.
Rudy Gobert wouldn't average 14 assists. Probably like 10.
Screen assists, he might.
Think so?
He's one of the best. He's one of every year is at the top of screen assists per game.
I lied. I'm not going
Here we
Bam
go.
Adebayo rebounds. Assists, excuse me. What did I say I was going to take? His under turnovers. Gabe Vincent at 13.5.
Steal. In home.
He's averaging 20 this series.
Yeah, bro. He's been really good.
It's at home. I'm telling you.
Are you forcing me to take one Nuggets, one Miami?
It's the rules.
All right, I respect that. I appreciate that. So yeah, I'm gonna go Gabe Vincent over points, and then I'll go over on Jokic's PRA. I just think that he has to be special, and he will.
Okay. So to recap, what were yours?
Mine are MPJ over on his points,
Nice.
Duncan Robinson 2 threes. Had a
Okay.
little stumble there
Rev?
for a bit.
Jimmy Butler over on the points and KCP over in the threes, man.
I'm going over on Jokic's PRA 50.5, and then I'm also going over on Gabe Vincent's points 13.5.
Flo Rida going to be at the game. Trick Daddy.
Flo
And
Rida,
Dehls.
man, yo, TBT.
And Dehls, save those matchups because after we finish recapping game 2, we're going to come back to the matchups,
Got 3
make some
matchups.
good TikTok and
Pitbull
Instagram
might
content.
slide, man.
Let's see if they win. Let's see if our matchup picks win. We'll see. But you guys can download Boom Fantasy. Link is in the description. Use code PAS.
And I know there's a bunch of people who Boom isn't eligible in your state, but we do have a brand new game mode. It's called Coin Flip Live. It's eligible all 50 states. You got to go in, pick heads or tails. There's 6 flips. If you make it to the last round, you can win $100. It goes every single night of the NBA Finals. When it's not a finals game, we give out $100 per game. There's 2 games a night. When there is an NBA Finals game, we give out $250 per game, $500 in total. So even if you can't play the fantasy aspect of it, you can still play our free-to-play game.
Steven Adams led the league in screen assists.
How much?
5.6. Number 2 was Sabonis at 5.5. Number 3 was Gobert at 4.9. Then it was Capella, Ayton, and Bam Adebayo.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
He's at like, the way they shooting, that boy at like 9.
No, he's been OD.
And then the year
This
before, it
playoff
was
run.
Gobert at 6.3.
There we go.
Yeah.
When he was with Utah.
Yes.
That makes more sense. Minnesota, yeah, can't shoot.
Wait until this year. Jaden McDaniel's been in the gym working.
Every player is.
He's been in the gym.
I hope
I was going to say
Jason's
Ben
taking it a
Simmons.
bit
He
harder.
just posted
He's
a
in the
picture
gym
on
every year.
Instagram. Correct.
I hope
every
Tatum's
summer.
taking some
Ben
time off.
Simmons has shown us already who he is as a basketball
Jalen
player.
Brown better be in the lab.
He should have been there the day after y'all lost. Looking right
Knowing
there.
his work ethic and his dedication to himself,
Yeah,
I know you see
100%
the
he was
pool
in the gym.
workouts.
Pool?
Yeah.
I'm
No, not Jordan Poole.
Oh.
Jalen Brown in a pool working out.
No one's
That's
thinking
the
about Jordan
that's the
Poole,
problem. He that's the fucking problem. Why the fuck are you in the pool?
He's working on his explosiveness.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what he was
listen.
doing. That's
Remember
not really
when
an issue.
it's funny because last year he had the same handle problems because Victor Oladipo was plucking him left and right every time. So I don't know what he worked on this summer. Probably just the scoring.
He was hurt. Very obvious, bro.
He was.
He went left and lost the ball. That wasn't form of any hurt. He just lost
It wasn't
the ball.
8 times. He lost. He
turnovers.
turned it over 8 times.
No, he
It was
went.
like
He
5 or
jabbed
6 of them
left,
going left.
dribbled left, just lost the ball. Where was he hurt? And Bam just looked at him. Everybody was confused,
I was confused.
as you should be. He's funny. He's a
I was
funny guy.
perplexed.
Poole was probably nice. I saw the Poole. It was really nice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, really nice.
So the Heat beat the Nuggets 111 to 108. And I want to talk about the biggest storyline revolving this game, and that's Nikola Jokic being made into a scorer. And Eric
Scored storyline.
Spoelstra,
Yeah, your untrained eye.
nah, not my untrained eye. Eric Spoelstra called out Ramona Shelburne for her question, and he was like, it's just the untrained eye that says something like that, and just basically praised Jokic. So what are your thoughts on Game 2 about the strategy, I guess, of Jokic scoring more points, and is that because the Heat were forcing him to do that, or are there other factors involved?
Good riff.
Oh, you wanted me to go first. My bad.
Come on, bro. You always
He
go
usually
first.
says the name after
He low-key
drops.
does.
He
I'm not going
usually
to say you're
drops the
wrong.
name.
You're not wrong.
I'm looking directly at you.
I wasn't looking. I was looking at my screen. My fault, gang. We here. We
Get
locked.
to it before I skip you.
You want to go?
No.
I think it was more just MPJ wasn't hitting shots. The team just wasn't. The Joker had it going. I think if you have it going offensively as a star player, it's right to keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. And the way they were playing defensively, they were leaving the Joker a little bit open or one-on-one coverage. He had Cody Zeller on him at times. He had Kevin Love on him at times. It just was a matter of he was taking advantage of the mismatches or he was taking advantage of the opportunities he had. The Denver Nuggets weren't hitting shots at a great clip. They were missing a couple shots. So he felt the need to take over when it was time to I think when people say turn him into a scorer is the game plan is really dumb. I think that quite literally doesn't make sense. He's like a 24, 25 points per game scorer, and he ups it up to like 27, 28 in the playoffs. So that's weird to just say, if you turn him into a scorer, then, the game plan looks a lot differently. No, he just turns into a scorer when his teammates aren't shooting the ball well. They're a very fluid offense, a great offense. They work off each other, and if everybody doesn't have it going, the Joker takes advantage. To talk about the game for a little bit, though, the Miami Heat just showed why they're the best fourth quarter team in the postseason. I mean, they had like 189 offensive rating.
It was insane.
In the fourth, they just couldn't miss. Defensively, they were sound. They didn't turn the ball over, especially late in that fourth quarter. You saw a lot of mental lapses with Denver. They had a couple offensive fouls. Miami was set on their defense. They was beating them to the spots. Defensively, they were able to get some calls their way. And there was a lot of shaky calls on both ends in the fourth for both teams. So I'm not going to even talk about the refs. But just the way defensively Miami was very sound and they was very technical in their defensive performance in the fourth quarter especially. I mean, this team. And then Jimmy Butler finally got it going late in the fourth quarter. Gabe Vincent got it going. Bam Adebayo was great all game. It's just this team pulls shit out their ass pretty much and just becomes resilient, becomes all right, let's lock in. Spo calls that one timeout and then they come out, they start to get it going, lock in defensively. This team just has all the resilience in the world. And KCP said it to a degree. They didn't play well. The Denver Nuggets did not play well that game, and they almost won that game. But still, you got to look at the Miami and look at their defense and feel like, this is a defense that no matter who do they have on the other side, they are very sound, they're technical, and they get stops. And that's the one thing that they can look to for this game.
The Nuggets had 2 moments in Game 2 that they played really good basketball. It was that stretch when Jokic was off the court in that second quarter, when I believe it was a 14-2 run when Jokic wasn't on the court. Jamal was just getting out in transition. They were just getting some easy buckets. And then it was like the last 3 minutes of the game when they suddenly just started to turn it on. Jamal, you mentioned it, started to go crazy. Aaron Gordon hit a clutch shot. Jokic was just unbelievably dominant in the paint. He throws it up. I'm just going to assume that it's going in. He has probably the smoothest touch at the rim a big man could have in the association, right now at least. So I look at this game, and I think I agree with that statement. That the Nuggets, for a majority of this game, did not play well. However, in the 2 moments that they did, you see the high level of basketball that they can play. But to talk about the Miami Heat, you mentioned their fourth quarter resiliency. I believe, this is their 8th win now after trailing by double digits this postseason run. Mm-hmm. They have been unbelievable when playing from behind. Bam Adebayo, he's been spectacular. Probably top 2 favorite if you're a Miami Heat fan to win the Finals MVP. Can't exclude Gabe Vincent from this conversation. Was the leading scorer for the Miami Heat in Game 2. He was huge for them, hitting clutch threes. I believe he had 4 threes. Duncan Robinson caught lightning in a bottle again. Let's not say lightning in a bottle because this whole postseason run, for a majority outside of probably the Knicks series, He's been extremely valuable for them. Caleb Martin struggled. He had a huge 3 down the stretch of the game. The Miami Heat just knew how to answer for every punch that the Denver Nuggets had given them. Jimmy Butler was struggling. I believe he had 8 points in the fourth quarter. It just does not matter what you do to the Miami Heat early in the game. Unless you are 100% locked in to close out the game, the Miami Heat can come back and steal a win from you. Stealing home court advantage is huge. Denver Nuggets had been undefeated up until that point. The Miami Heat, Eric Spoelstra, they've had a great game plan for this Denver Nuggets offense. They decided to turn it into a zone. It's forced and clogged the middle of the paint for Nikola Jokic. It's been a little bit more difficult for him to make passes. But the whole turning him into a scorer was, I do look at it as a little bit of nonsense. Jokic understands, hey, my guys don't have it going. This is when I have to assert myself as the best scorer on my team, and we know that he can take it to that level. But to the people that think that all you have to do is turn him into a scorer, I understand where they're kind of coming from to a degree. Tweet from Nick Wright. Never a great thing if you're going to use Nick Wright as a reference. I do like Nick Wright, so it's funny to say that. So he says, the Nuggets this regular season were 34-4 when Jokic had 10-plus assists and 14-17 when he didn't. So again, just very basic, not real analysis, not really watching the game.
So when his team isn't hitting shots, they don't win.
Exactly. Shocking. One guy makes shots, other guys don't. They lose the game. But again, when he scores 40 points, the team does not have a win either. So that's pretty interesting to really look at. The Nuggets need to hit shots. You've seen it. MPJ has struggled these first 2 games. KCP really hasn't gotten it going either. Jamal, he just knows how to turn it on whenever. You can trust Jamal Murray, no doubt about it. But I look at MPJ, I look at KCP. These are guys that have been 2 of the most consistent players for the Denver Nuggets all regular season long and all postseason long. For the finals to start and them to go ghost, that's not what you want if you're a Denver Nuggets fan. But I agree with him. I believe that for a majority of this game, the Nuggets played poorly. They did not play with energy. They were missing wide open, really good looks. And I think that they have to come out aggressive this game 3, understanding that you go down 2-1. It's not an ideal situation, especially understanding that Miami themselves are a great home team as well. So I do look for game 3 to be exciting. I do expect Jimmy Butler to have a better, probably his best performance in one of these 2 games in Miami. He really hasn't gone into that place really since he had those moments in Boston. But really, it's that Bucks series. We put it up on Instagram. Just the numbers from the first series in Milwaukee versus the rest of the postseason. It's been a pretty steep decline, but he's done a great job of getting his teammates involved, and you could probably pair that with the ankle injury with the Knicks. So I do expect Denver to still come out on fire. And they
shot from 33% from the three-point line to 48% from the three-point line. Miami from game 1 to game 2. So the three ball was falling this game.
And the Nuggets shot well. They shot, I believe, 39% from 3. It's just that MPJ, it does not seem that he's the same confident dude that we've seen him be. I get the ball, I shoot it, it's going to go in. But it's starting to heighten the fact that we're now looking at him and say, hey, if you're not making the shots that you usually make, now we're going to start talking about your lack of playmaking. Now we're going to start talking about your lack of dribbling. You're not on the level of Jaylen Brown, but you don't want to be put into that conversation where people are being hypercritical of you, even though he's been a great defensive player this postseason.
I don't know about the MPJ thing. I think that he plays a role, and he just needs to hit shots and defend.
But when you don't, that's when people start to criticize your game.
I don't think that we're going to knock him for playmaking or nothing else. I think Jaylen Brown gets that criticism because he's the second star on his team. MPJ's not that.
MPJ's still getting paid.
He's getting paid, but he's playing a role within Denver, and that's my thing. I think you get criticized for not hitting your shots and not playing well and energetic on defense. That's it. I'm not going to dig too deep into the MPJ criticism. You get paid to do 2 things, and that's what I think he needs to do well. I think the Jokic stat when the Nuggets are winless when he scores 40 points is a coincidence. I don't think it has anything to do with when he scores, Denver loses. Part of it is, of course, Denver's not hitting their shots at the rate that they usually would hit their shots at. But in this game, Denver had a 126 offensive rating. I'm not going to blame one player in MPJ and maybe half of KCP because he was 1 for 3 from 3 on why the Nuggets lost this game. I think Denver lost this game defensively, plain and simple. In the fourth quarter, I don't care how hot you are from 3. I don't care how many shots you're making. A 189 offensive rating is a combination of miscommunication on defense and also hot shooting. That's an absurd rate to have And Miami has been exceptional in fourth quarters all playoffs long. That's why
a lot of open looks.
when I picked the Nuggets in 6, I said, listen, I think that the Miami's going to win some of these games in the fourth quarter. And game 2 is one of those games they won in the fourth quarter. They're doing an amazing job on Jokic, just sending different zone looks at him. They had a 1-3-1 zone on him at one point, which whenever he got the ball at the free throw line, it wasn't a clean, free entry pass within it. And then when he gets the ball, they collapse on him, so he's not able to read out the court like he usually would be able to. But Jokic understands how he has to play when defenses play him in that way. He has to be more aggressive. He has to score more. And we saw in the fourth quarter, every time down, it was Jokic getting a basket. And occasionally we had the Jamal Murray 3 that put the game within reach for them. Sure. But they lost this game defensively 100%. Duncan Robinson scoring all of his points in the fourth quarter. I mean, how many of those were just defensive lapses from Denver? And I'm going to give Miami credit because these sets that they're running, they have so many different sets for different situations within the game that they're able to generate these open looks. And for me, when I'm looking at these games, I'm looking at games 1 and game 2. The amount of open threes they are giving up to Miami is alarming.
For sure.
Game 1, Miami was missing their open shots. They shot 33% from 3, but it's not. I'm not just going to attribute this to hot shooting. You know, I can say that maybe against the Celtics because Caleb Martin was an anomaly what he did. I'm going to say that. I think it was. But the Heat players playing this well all playoffs long, you look at what they've been last year as a first seed, how they shot last year versus this year. Duncan Robinson, him not being a good three-point shooter, was kind of just like a bad shooting stretch, although it lasted a long time. Max Strus as well, because these guys are good shooters. So for me, if Denver's going to continue to give up these open looks, then it's a big red flag for how this series could go. I do expect MPJ to come back to earth and play better. Mike Malone has to figure out how to handle these Jamal Murray pick and rolls when he's getting blitzed off them, because when they're playing zone, they usually blitz Jamal Murray. So they're going to have to figure out all that stuff out. And what Miami's doing, going 5 out and inserting Kevin Love into the game, has really changed this series around and how Miami's able to expand their offense. Because now Bam Adebayo is playing more like a point guard. And it's very similar to how Sabonis, Jokic, and these point centers run their offense. I think Bam Adebayo is best when he is being used as a point center and he's able to pick his spots, pass when the defense forces him to pass, and score when he has good open lanes to the basket. So I think Miami, game 2, they showed that they are a real threat. And Denver in 6, I still have that. But Miami is really proving that this could be a series. And especially if they take game 3, now we're starting to get into territory where game 4 is must win. Mm-hmm. I know we've seen Denver come back down 3-1 before, but I don't think it'll happen again. So they have to steal one in Miami, whether it's game 3 or game 4. But I'm hoping they do a game 3, because if they go down 2-1, it's really looking bad for Denver.
Yeah, and it felt like going into this series, Miami needed to take one in Denver, because we felt like if they got 2 at home, that's going to be really hard to overcome with, the altitude, just their home court advantage. But getting one Denver's huge. Talk about the Jokic stat, 0-3 when he scores 40 or more in the playoffs specifically. The first time was the game 4 against Minnesota, where, they made a crazy comeback in the fourth quarter, pushed it to overtime. They lost. And the other one was game 5, I want to say. I have
with the Suns.
Game 4 against the Suns, where that was a game Devin Booker didn't miss, 14 of 18, right? I think the Suns scored like 129 points, and then this most recent game. So like Joel said, I think that's more of a coincidence than anything, because it's not like Jokic is being inefficient or like jacking threes. Like, that's not Jokic's game. He's going out there, he's giving you 40, and even that Suns game, he would have 53 on like 67% shooting.
And it's not even like Denver's playing bad. Like you just mentioned, the Suns had to have a historic performance on Devin Booker. And KD had a 30-point triple-double in that game, too. You had to have 2 30-point double-doubles to beat Denver. Denver was not playing bad, so when Jokic scores a shit ton of points, Denver still overall doesn't play horrible as a team. It's just these other teams are playing lights out. They're playing even better.
Yeah, and especially in that third quarter of this past game, like, Jokic just got in that mode. He was doing some shit. I mean, like
18 in the third.
Court to court, from one side to the other, taking it down, hitting the layup. Like, he was just hitting some shots. Like, almost like a heat check, but since he's not shooting threes, he's just like, I'm just going to throw some shit up, and it was going in more often than not. But I really thought the Heat in the first quarter set the tone. They were only up 3 going into the second, but I thought that first quarter was really important because it set the tone early, right? Max Strus hit his first 3 or 4 threes. Bam Adebayo with a little pick and roll jump shot from the free throw line, and the Nuggets were struggling. I mean, offensively, they felt like lost, and everything just felt really hard coming offensively. Wow. But then, you got to give credit to the Heat for really locking in because they, coming into this game, was must-win. We're talking about Game 3 being a must-win for Denver. This was must-win game for the Heat, and it was obvious. Spo went into that locker room after Game 1 and really told them, like, we got to lock in. But even after that, only being up 3 going to the second quarter, the Nuggets, as always, they're going to respond, right? So they went onto that run, fall into the third quarter. A bunch of the role players stepped up. I thought Christian Brown gave some really good minutes. Jeff Green and Bruce Brown contributed. But then the fourth quarter, Riv, like you mentioned, it was just one of those signature fourth quarter moments from the Miami Heat where Duncan Robinson started off the quarter with an 8-2 run by himself. I mean, we talk about the three-point shooting, but something that he's even add to this game was just like the cutting, the backdoor cuts that makes it so difficult to defend him because I feel like prior to this real playoff run, Duncan Robinson, we really just know him as a shooter. And this playoff run, he's done more limited, but more off the dribble, getting to the rim, hitting contested layups. So when you bring that into that and you know how deadly he is from 3, it puts just that much more pressure on the defense. So the fact that he was able to score 8 by himself, and then, Nuggets did cut it down to 3. And to talk about the Jamal Murray shot for a second, because we didn't touch on that, I didn't have a problem with it. I thought Jamal Murray took a look that
he was hot.
Wasn't a bad look. That's a timeout. That's a shot I've seen Jamal Murray
just hit
make.
2 back-to-back bangers.
Yeah, like you could call a timeout, but now that you call a timeout, you probably foul right away off the timeout. You're not even gonna get a point for a 3.
I'm
the Heat are able to could set either they want to do zone man, whatever they want to do in that situation. They have time to communicate. So I prefer not taking the timeout, given that he ended up getting a decent look. I've seen Jamal Murray hit that shot. I've seen him hit tough contested threes. So I didn't have a problem with it. But going into Game 3, it feels like a must-win, for the Nuggets. Because if they go down 2-1, now all the momentum swings back to Miami. Now you're in Miami for a Game 4 where now it's really do or die.
And Christian Brown was a part of the biggest run that Denver made in the game.
Sure.
He was the spark that they needed. Once he was inserted, his defense, his ferociousness, his offense in transition, he was really the spark that led a big-time Denver run. And he was great. Your point about Jamal Murray in the 3 in the fourth quarter, like Denver lost by 3. They didn't call a goaltend, an obvious one on Bam Adebayo, that the ball was obviously going down on the Jamal Murray floater, and they didn't call a goaltend. That's 2 points that Denver could have had. It could have been a 1-point game with that final possession. And then, like I mentioned, every single open 3-point look Denver gave Miami in the fourth quarter. And I'm not taking anything away from Miami. I am just saying that none of what I just mentioned is featuring Jokic scoring, which means that there are so many other plays you can point to that even if Jokic scores what he did, they could have won the game if they didn't have these other plays happen to them and didn't have errors on a defensive end.
Isn't it insane that we're highlighting a man scoring over 40 points and that being the reason why his team lost? Like that should never be. Yeah, Jokic, shame on you. You scored 40 points. Your team lost. You need to do better. You need to start passing the basketball. Since when has that been the narrative?
Miami was in a league high 54.
They were OD.
Close games.
And they feels like they won 54.
And it's funny that y'all was talking about the sets because Miami has like a set within a set within a set. They have like 14 different sets within one set. And that adds set, you get like another 5 more. So they have so many different plays that they can run. That's why the Duncan thing was intriguing because he's come into the playoffs. He didn't play much the last couple years. Then bada boom, he's just running because he's still doing the same shit in practice. Running the same thing. He's just not playing in the games. Coming to just go out there and give that juice. I love that. Miami's taking 2 straight.
The jig's up, huh?
The jig is.
Don't get featured on Pick a Side meme, man.
I'm not gonna say the jig is up yet. I'm gonna wait a little bit, but I think Miami takes 2 straight and Miami.
2 straight. Oh, so it's gonna be 3-1.
3-1 going back to Denver. I'm dead ass. I feel it.
Are they gonna do the same thing they did to the Clippers or no?
Who?
The Nuggets.
In the bubble?
Going down 3-1.
Yeah. Streets don't need that. I need 1-3-1.
I don't
come back in the finals.
I don't think so. No. That comeback was a little nastier. Doc Rivers and shit. Your coach. No, it's
He's got a ring, got a championship.
it's Spo and shit. I doubt it. No, I do think Miami takes 2 straight. I think they come out game 3 blazing hot. They beat the shit out of Denver, and then game 4 is like a close one. Comes down to the best fourth.
Only
quarter
way
team
I
in the
see them
postseason.
losing 2 straight is if the Nuggets just forget how to score.
I don't think they'll forget how to score, but I can see Denver having multiple defensive lapses late in games.
Yeah, that's the bigger
I don't think
issue,
Denver
'cause
will
they're
forget
getting
how to
so
score.
many
I
looks.
think Denver wins this series.
So Miami was going to outscore the Nuggets flat out. Their offense will be better than the way that.
I mean, it's not necessarily better. It's just as long as it's better in the fourth, does it matter?
I guess that's not wrong.
Listen,
Although
Denver
in game
wins-
1, in the fourth, the Miami Heat started to figure some
Miami
shit out,
missed
but
a
it's
lot,
still.
and they missed a lot of
They
open
did.
looks.
They did. They
Mike
did.
Strus was like 0 for 10 that
It was
game.
horrible.
He was dog shit.
Denver wins this series if they lock in defensively. That's what the key for them is this series. You could have won game 2. You won game 1 despite giving probably 10 plus open 3-point
That shit
looks.
was nasty.
You lost game 2 by 3 points when there were so many moments for you to take control of the game. If they can just lock in defensively and not have these mental lapses, because it's not Miami has a bunch of sets, and yes, they execute very well, but KCP fouled 2 shooters on 3-point attempts. That's 6 free throws right
Very
there.
ill-advised,
You know,
too. Bad
we're
fouls.
talking about so many moments where Denver just was undisciplined. It was just not like them.
You can't do that
not the
against
version I've
Miami.
seen of them the majority of the season. So that's why I think Denver, the biggest thing for them is showing effort and being disciplined on defensive end, and they show win this series because as great as Miami is defensively, Denver's still been a great offense. Their
I
offense
agree.
rating is still 126 plus.
As long as Miami hits their open looks, because they're going to continue to get them, and they hone in, lock in
They've
defensively.
been doing it all playoffs.
They just continue to do what they've been doing.
50% of contested
Yeah,
threes,
it's
bro.
nuts.
and for the people out there that say like, you know, Miami you shot 49% from 3, it's not going to happen.
I wish that was the case.
It's happened 6 times this playoffs. They've played in 20 playoff
so
games.
insane.
Miami, each
open.
game they go to from here on out, they have a 30% chance to shoot at least like 50%
It's
from
like people
three.
are so confused why NBA athletes are making wide open jumpers. It's like
That's
very,
what they get paid for.
yeah, they're very wide open. Like
Yeah.
Max Strus missing 10 threes was actually retarded. Like why are you missing 10 threes? You know,
Yeah.
that's the weird like wild thing. Like that's more unlikely than him making 58%. Like he missed 10 open threes.
Understand. And you could see it early in the game. That was their game plan, screen and roll. And honestly, they just they had so much space. The way that Miami's been shooting recently, more often than not, that's not a recipe for the Nuggets to win.
It's not at all.
Been a good series though. I like it.
It has. You
It's
saw
actually
it's the
viewed,
most viewed. Exactly.
Yeah, you know
in
what's the
last
worst?
been
league.
going
The
up.
bubble. For the last 4 years.
People didn't have internet, bro.
LeBron's ring.
I didn't want to say that.
But it's gone up
Orlando.
the recipe the last 5 years.
It was a tough championship to win though.
There was
It was
bigger
the
things than
toughest in
just
history.
basketball going on in the world, Riv.
All I ever said was I was bringing up a number.
I'm
You're
letting
getting
you know.
defensive over a number. I was just bringing up a number. It's actually almost it's close with Warriors and Celtics. I think it might have surpassed 20.
It
The
did.
Suns one.
No, it is.
has.
That's the most.
It has?
It's
Yeah.
the most. It's the most.
It's more than the Celtics Warriors one too.
Pain.
Yeah, no one cares about Steph
I think we talked about this last year when the Heat were the first seed in the East all throughout the year. This Heat team is very much like the Spurs in how they move the ball. Their ball movement, not the current Spurs, but great, you know, the
Yeah.
Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, Ginobili Spurs, and how they move the ball. They're getting
Isn't
a ton of
Spo
open looks.
of Pop's tree?
No.
Or I'm trolling. No.
Spo started out as a video,
Video, yeah.
coordinator for the Heat, and he's a Pat
'cause-
Riley protege,
disciple.
100%.
Because usually when dudes rival the Spurs offense, they're a Pop tree. Like Kerr was with Pop for a little bit. Mike Brown was under Kerr, so by default, you know. So it usually happens like that.
Like their ability last year to be the first seed and to have a bunch of guys step up because
Jimmy
last
missed
year
time, too.
Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, all these guys were less of household names, including Max Strus as well. Their ability to find these undrafted players and now fit them into a system and maximize their strengths is something that we have not seen since Greg Popovich coaching that Big Three Spurs team. And something important about the Spurs, and I think it's happening currently with Miami, is the fact that it's not reliant on the best player to be the best player at all times. With the Spurs in 2007, Tony Parker was the Finals MVP. Although Tim Duncan was the best player on the Spurs, there was many nights where Ginobili was. There was many nights where Tony Parker was. There was many nights where somebody, maybe like Steven Jackson, would step up and he'd take over the game. So with this current Heat team, Jimmy Butler is not stuffing the stat sheet. He's not leading the team in points every game, it's a different person. But I think those are the similarities within this Heat team and those Spurs team and how they play unselfishly and their ultimate goal is to win no matter how it happens. It just happens.
Yeah, I get that. The Spurs just caught me off guard because they was like the best team in the league. They feel like mad low.
AC is a little bit different.
The Miami underdog reminds me more of Detroit, like the underdog mentality of Detroit. They come out, Jimmy's an all-star, but no real superstar level talent, just a bunch of really good players, and they don't really care.
You wouldn't call Jimmy a superstar level talent or player?
I'm saying prior to, like, coming in, like, no superstar level talent, they come out, and then they're always the underdog in pretty much every series, and bada boom, bada bang.
Here's the thing. We always talk about Jimmy. Hey, the playoff time, superstar. Last year, we did it too. Jimmy Butler showed, he's better than a lot of players in the NBA. Then the regular season comes around. You forget about Miami Heat. You forget about Jimmy Butler. Then the playoffs start up, and you're just like, Jimmy Butler, superstar. He's a superstar.
I can understand that,
I didn't
but
say he wasn't.
No, I know, but I'm saying, like you're saying before this.
Before last year, he just got swept, so I don't think we were. Yeah, I don't think we were talking about like him.
Taking
like,
the defensive
2
side
years
on
ago.
Jamal was big too. Kevin Love comes in
for
on Aaron
sure.
Gord. So
That's
even though the points haven't been there for Jimmy, I thought specifically game
he did his
2.
thing with Jamal. No
Exactly,
doubt.
being able to limit him.
I like the Pistons comparison because they're both teams in the East that, thrived on an underdog mentality. The Pistons won a championship. People don't remember this, but after 2004, they made the conference finals or finals for the next 4 or 5 years. But
D-Wade.
they're just not the same in terms of offense.
It was D-Wade first.
I know, but come on.
No.
Can we bond on that?
No, we cannot.
Fucking
Because the
prick.
Pistons were just a bad offensive team.
Yeah, it was a different era. Yeah.
Like the
Way
Spurs were like the ball movement is what is very is
like play style wise,
resembling to me for the
Spurs for
Spurs.
sure. Play style because they weren't bad. They were pretty bad. But
I was gonna say their offense
the era
was
was
not that good.
the era was different. I love Chauncey Billups. Oh my god!
Chauncey was lit.
If you had him instead of Marcus Smart, you'd have won. You'd have beat the Heat.
Sick. Like
I'm just
Chauncey
saying.
Billups is pretty fucking good.
I just
he
wanted
was
to let you know
drafted to
that.
the Celtics.
He was on 5
Chauncey.
different teams before he made a
So
home.
we hired Sam Cassell, lead assistant.
I laugh because he's really.
Yeah, the Pistons after 2004 lost to the Spurs in the finals in 7. Then they lost to D-Wade, then LeBron, then Big 3 Boston.
Yep. Didn't they go back one more time or no?
No, that was it. Then they became poverty.
Then Chauncey went to Denver, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and they went to the
What was the need
WCF.
for the Marcus
And
Smart
they went
stray,
to New
man?
York.
Huh?
What was the need for the Marcus Smart stray?
I
Like
don't
I
know.
think everyone is
I was pretty
probably
bored.
sitting here. Okay.
Wanted to live it up. But yeah, he went to the WCF with Denver. That was crazy.
Weren't we just having this conversation yesterday that we used to talk ball, and then you go and you do this?
My fault.
Come on, man.
It's like the bother Dehls.
Be better.
man.
Marcus Smart, man.
We're going to blindly rank finals run.
Here we go.
Again, let's go.
We're going to rank 4 finals runs blindly. Just 4. Last time it was 5. This time
There we
it's
go.
4.
I was cute.
So first name up, 2012 LeBron.
The finals.
That's the finals that he averaged 30 points per game in that
He-
playoff run, and they beat the Thunder in 5.
Oh, okay.
And then that's also Game 6 LeBron.
I'm gonna
That's
gamble
kind of like
and
the
say
birth of
2.
LeBron.
And they beat the
he said
Celtics
finals.
in
He said
7.
finals.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
There was no
That's the
game
entire
6
playoff
LeBron.
run.
No, but
That
he's saying
game
the
7
playoff
game.
run.
Versus the
Game
Celtics.
6, yeah.
No, I'm
And
saying, are we
ECF.
talking finals run or just playoffs?
I mean, the finals run includes the
It's-
playoffs. You know,
Okay, I'm thinking we're just going finals. So now I'll go
It's one.
I don't think he's gonna start off the best one with the first
I
one.
really
I'm
honestly
scared. That's what I'm
But
really
last,
scared.
But last time we did it, we got some good names already.
he
Unless
started off
he's
with Kawhi.
recycling.
It fucked us.
But we,
I'm not
He's
recycling.
not-
I didn't
not.
think so. I'm gonna go one
What
personally.
if he has another LeBron one on here?
If he has multiple LeBrons,
What if
that's
he
crazy.
hits us with
All
20
right, here's the
something
thing.
LeBron?
Here's the thing. The only
I'd say 2 to
the
be
only
safe.
one better than the only other LeBron run
3-1.
better.
Yeah.
But he said that one already.
2018
Oh.
LeBron.
28, but we didn't win. But I would say
Yeah,
that
sure.
that was probably better than 2012.
What if he says
2016. That's what I said.
What if
Yeah,
he
I
says,
know.
He said 2011 Dirk already. He said Kawhi 2019. So
D-Wade
we could
said,
say
right?
one. He said D-Wade already. So we can put 1201. I think
Okay.
we
All
can
right,
be safe
all
with
right,
one.
cool. Yes.
2010 Kobe Bryant.
All right, so that means the next one's gonna be.
He
juicy.
averaged 30 in that entire playoffs. Beat the Celtics in 7 games.
I remember
His
I
second
remember.
ring by himself.
I remember. Respect
By
Pau
himself,
Gasol.
yeah. That's the guy.
No, Powell was amazing. So was
Yeah.
Ron Artest.
Now this is a gamble because the next one could be better.
Are we thinking 3?
I was gonna say let's be safe and say 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna say fuck. No.
I heard that. I thought that was you.
3?
2.
He was OD. He was very good.
What if he says some Shaq? Like
I'm gonna be honest.
03?
I would put 2010 Kobe number one.
Lost me.
Why
He's
is
doing
it,
this
why
for
is
the
that a
fans.
loss?
He's doing it
How
for
is
the
that a
people
loss? How is that a loss? Like
I didn't say you lost.
2012 LeBron was just dominant, and then
Kobe
also
Bryant averaged 30.
no, he was good. He did get pushed 7, but that Celtics team was a great team, no doubt. I just look at this 2012 LeBron run, back against the wall, legacy on the line. You lose that game against Boston, your career, the trajectory of LeBron's career is completely different. Puts up 45, wins Game 7, goes on to win the NBA Finals in dominant fashion. I think that's why I have to put that
I'll
one.
put
number
Kobe.
one.
Let's go 2. Kobe
All right,
two.
I'm fine with
That's
that.
historical, no doubt. The reason I say Kobe Bryant 2010, why I put him over LeBron is because even though LeBron, his back was against the wall because he just lost to Dallas in 2011, Kobe Bryant was not with the super team. He did not build a duo next to him that were already all NBA caliber players. Dwayne Wade at that point was still Dwayne Wade, and he was amazing versus the Thunder in the finals as well. Kobe Bryant went up against Big 3 Boston, was down 3-2, and came back to win the next 2 games, including Game 7 at home.
Now, you've been very vocal about that he was not that good.
No, I said he didn't shoot well. He didn't shoot well. He had 17 rebounds in that game. I believe it was double-digit rebounds. He played amazing defense. But in that entire series, he was good. That was a historically low-scoring finals game. But the Lakers came back down 3-2, and Kobe Bryant won that championship.
It was great.
So for me, I think that solidified him because in 2009, they beat Orlando.
He did. He had 15 rebounds, 23 and 15 that game.
Oh, the Lakers two-peated from that championship. So that's why I'd put Kobe 1, but I understand LeBron 1.
I'm cool with 2.
It's Kobe. 2.
Kobe's 2.
Okay.
2021 Giannis.
Are we thinking 4?
What is 3? What is the
He
next?
did close out
Yeah,
with
the
a 50.
Free throws.
I'll go 4. The next one could be better. This is such a crap
This
shoot.
is why I feel like Kobe at 3 would have been fine because I don't know what's going to
You
happen.
think
Giannis was-
2021 Giannis is better than
Absolutely.
2010?
I just said we could have put
I think
Giannis at 4.
Giannis is 4.
Giannis is 4.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go
think
Giannis.
That's
is
why I
4.
don't know what the next
this
one's
one's
about
scary.
to be.
Okay, Giannis at 4.
All right, Giannis 4, easy.
2022 Steph.
Oh,
There.
perfect.
Okay, well
Yeah.
done, Riv.
Perfect.
Riv, you
Good
did
job.
it again.
Perfect.
You did it again.
Perfect. Woo. So Steph at 3.
Yeah,
All right,
that's cool.
That's 4.
So 1 is 2012 LeBron, 2 is 2010 Kobe, 3 is 2022 Steph, and 4 is 2021
I think that's
Giannis.
perfect.
Riv, you son of a bitch,
Yeah.
man.
And listen, 4 and 3 can be interchangeable. You can argue it back and forth, but 1 and 2 are consensus.
Nah, Steph was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The 50 point, I understand. That's what I'm saying. I understand.
Yeah.
But 1 and 2 are consensus. You can argue those back and forth,
Can.
but
Giannis down 0-2 to start
Yeah,
that series
yeah.
as well.
his fault. I'm trolling.
Two
Wait, so
series
you're
in a row,
saying,
he
so
was
you're
down
saying
0-2.
LeBron and Kobe's run are not debatable?
No, I'm saying no. I said
No,
1 and 2 can
between-
be
yes.
interchangeable.
Because he said 3 and 4 at first.
No,
I'm-
yeah,
no, I'm
3
saying
and 4 are
three-
interchangeable.
And 1 and 2 are
1
interchangeable
and 2 are
for 1, is what I'm
interchangeable.
saying. But those two can't.
Yeah.
The
They're-
bottom
they're-
2 can't go to the
Well
top.
done.
I
two,
understand you. I understand you. Next topic.
Good
LeBron
Lord.
James, Kyrie Irving, will they be teammates next
Great,
season?
we're talking about this again.
Chris Haynes reported Monday that Kyrie Irving prefers the Mavericks to acquire LeBron James. Now, it's important to note that Jova Buha from The Athletic said it would take more than Tim Hardaway Jr., Bertans, Josh Green, Jaden Hardy, the 10th overall pick, and a future first to get LeBron James. After that, a flurry of reports came out. Lakers are uninterested in bringing in Kyrie Irving. That's number 1. And Mark Stein reported that Kyrie Irving has consistently expressed a desire to remain a Dallas Maverick. It's possibly because they can pay him the most money, 5 years, $272 million, because they have his bird rights. Now, what do you think about, Kyrie Irving just saying, listen, I want to get LeBron to Dallas. He doesn't want to go to LA.
What do you think, Drew?
First things first, this shit isn't happening. LeBron is staying in Los Angeles. This report, if anything, right, if we really want to throw a wild card in there of why this report came out in the first place.
Long as hell, dog.
Yeah, bro's lanky.
Just peeped his foot. He's over.
Anyways.
He's stretching the table.
Shut something.
Okay.
My Lord have mercy. If anything, you want to throw a wild card in this whole discussion would be that LeBron James wanted this report to come out so that we could really put pressure on the front office to get Kyrie Irving in the building and make him a Los Angeles Laker. LeBron James is not leaving. LeBron James just signed an extension this offseason, to remain a Los Angeles Laker for 2 more years. I just don't see a world where he leaves. And it's also understood that this team was finally put together let's be real, beyond the halfway point.
Then this team was put together, and then we started to finally figure things out towards the end of the season. And then, of course, the playoff run is the playoff run when we played really, really high-level basketball. Why wouldn't we just want to run it back and have a full year of continuity, a thing that we have not had since that 2020 to 2021 season, where if we remained healthy, who knows what would have happened, of course, but I don't like to live in what-ifs. So realistically, why am I going to entertain the idea of LeBron James going to leave again, especially after this contract extension that he just signed, to go join Kyrie Irving, a person who already had a desire to leave LeBron James in the first place? We understand that Kyrie has come out and said, I handled that wrong, that very poorly, of course, taking the mature route of it in the end, in hindsight. But again, I understand. It's Kyrie, it's Luka, it's LeBron. The idea sounds fun, but realistically, what you're asking LeBron to do, and what you're asking the Lakers to do, is trade LeBron James. And you want LeBron James to request a trade off the Los Angeles Lakers. It's simply not going to happen. That's really all I have to say because I'm not entertaining.
I saw you tweet out you don't want it to happen.
No, but that's only for the fact because I don't want to
don't
root
hit
for
a
the
super
Mavericks.
team?
I don't
Okay.
want to root for the Warriors. I don't want to root for the Spurs. These are teams I don't want LeBron James to go
Teams
to.
that beat him,
Correct.
embarrassed him.
But all in all,
because
that it's really just the Mavericks. But ultimately, I want LeBron James to stay a Laker. I want him to retire a Laker. I see that we were pretty damn close to going to the NBA Finals at the age of 38 years old with playing through a torn ligament in his foot. So, is it insane of me to think that if we have some continuity, we try and just retool a little bit next season, that we could get better and ultimately reach our goal to reach the NBA Finals? God willing that the Los Angeles Lakers are a healthy team. It's not.
I hear you. There's a couple ways Kyrie and LeBron could team up. I think the last possible way is LeBron getting traded to Dallas.
Get the hell out of here.
I mean, the Lakers are just a team that just one of the best second half runs we've seen. Go to the WCF, and like you mentioned, the injury to LeBron James. And I don't understand why unless LeBron's coming out and saying, I do not want to be a Laker, why the front office says this is the time to blow it up when we just made the WCF, when you just had Austin Reeves average 20 in the conference finals, when you've seen these role players
on
step
generational
up,
efficiency.
when you see Anthony Davis have his longest stretch of health in the last however many years. I mean, he was healthy, for months, something you don't really see. So unless LeBron is done, which, I mean, Bronny just committed to USC, his family's there. It doesn't really make any sense for him to go to Dallas. Now, Kyrie to LA is possible, right? This is something we talked about the trade deadline when he originally was on the Nets. Could be maybe a sign-and trade. D'Angelo Russell probably necessary to make the money work, and I'm sure Lakers fans would be thrilled to have that happen. And the idea of having that big three of Kyrie, AD, and LeBron is probably very enticing, intriguing. I don't know where you stand, actually, if you prefer or if you'd rather run it back.
Oh, listen. You telling me I get an upgrade at Kyrie Irving. You take out D'Lo. I get Kyrie Irving. Sign me the fuck up. What are we doing
and
here?
The only issue with that is obviously the depth that's going to be behind them. You'd probably still be able to bring back.
We lose Rui. We keep
Reeves. But then you still got to think, we're having these conversations with Jaylen Brown, the Celtics. Once you get to that upper echelon of cap, you get a lot more restrictions, right? You can't use the MLE. You can't trade, future first round picks. You could basically only do 1-for-1 player swaps where the money matches up. So if you do, I know, I'm surprised the owners, accepted that. So if you do end up making the move for Kyrie, of course you get more of the superstar power, but you are giving up some of that flexibility down the road. And I think what this finals has shown us is that you don't really need to have all the superstar power to make the finals, right? You see the Heat, what they're doing with a borderline Jimmy Butler's top 10, but a back half top 10 player. Of course, the Nuggets have Jokic, but they didn't go out and trade MPJ, Aaron Gordon in pieces to get a third star, right? They kept their guys. So I don't necessarily know if getting the super team and giving up the depth is worth it.
That's
since
fair.
you have the depth and you already have 2 top 10 players.
I agree.
It feels like Kyrie at that point, I would almost rather have 3 or 4 role players who could play defense, who can shoot, who can play make, rather than just Kyrie Irving, who is obviously a great player, but could be unreliable at times. You don't know whether injury-related or off-the-court stuff is not always going to be there. Of course, when it's with LeBron, I feel like he's always more locked in, but I do think if there's any world it happens, it would be Kyrie going to the Lakers rather than the other way around, LeBron to Dallas. But if I'm a Laker fan or if I'm the front office, I am staying put with this roster.
Facts.
I'm paying Austin Reeves. I'm paying Rui. Maybe I make some, tweaks
Get me
across.
Gary Trent.
Yeah, exactly. Like Gary Trent or Norman Powell or someone maybe off the bench, a little bit more scoring, or possibly a point guard unless you want Braun or Reeves to run the point. But I don't think going and getting Kyrie is the move to make this offseason.
I look at this.
I'm so confused.
What?
I wasn't going to go next, but y'all looked at me.
When it comes to the Mavericks, it's going to be tough to build around Luka. It really is. Because I think they got themselves in a pickle.
Uh-oh.
And the big pickle is the fact that you traded for Kyrie Irving in the first place. The Mavericks trading for Kyrie Irving was the beginning of the end for the Luka Doncic era
Here we go.
in Dallas. It's that simple. They're not getting LeBron. That's one. LeBron's not going to ask for a buyout. They're not going to trade for LeBron.
Fuck no.
It's not going to happen. Kyrie has expressed interest in staying in Dallas for one reason and one reason only, because they can pay him the most money. If Dallas pays Kyrie $272 million for 5 years, if they give him the max, that's going to be the worst mistake in their franchise's history. We've seen how unreliable Kyrie Irving is since 2016. Whether it's him not playing good in the playoffs like he did in Boston, having his worst playoff series against Milwaukee, whether it's him not playing well outside of Game 1 versus the Celtics when the Nets got swept, or it's him being hurt or causing some type of controversy. The Mavericks have limited assets as it is. They have limited cap space because they're paying Davis Bertans and Tim Hardaway Jr. $17 million plus. Bertans doesn't even play. This is going to be a disaster. And the only way for the Mavericks to salvage what they currently have and hope to build around Luka is letting Kyrie Irving walk. As bad as that sounds, I know you traded for him, but let's be honest. Did they trade much? It's Dinwiddie, Finney-Smith, and a pick. They didn't trade much. The best thing they can do is let Kyrie Irving walk, because if he stays, Dallas is going to have no flexibility for the future. And 6 teams right now are above the tax apron, which means you are now restricted financially. The Bucks, Celtics, Clippers, Warriors, Mavericks, and Suns.
Makes sense.
Mavericks are the only team that did not make the playoffs. Now, this is what happens if you are over that tax apron. You can't sign a player to a mid-level exception. You can't send out cash in trades. You can't trade a first-round pick 7 years into the future or sign players on the buyout market.
That's so true.
Basically everything to make your team better throughout the season, you cannot do. So if the Mavericks sign back Kyrie
the Warriors'
Irving,
fault.
forgetting KD, it is.
No, that's not even exaggeration.
And for it's mostly for just re-signing
for
all the
sure.
players. And I'll get to that in a bit. But the Mavericks, if they bring back Kyrie Irving, this is what the roster will be limited to. They have to bank on Josh Green and Hardy taking exceptional leaps. They have to bank on that 10th overall pick being very good. The best case for them is letting Kyrie Irving walk. I would not in a million years take a sign and trade for D'Lo, because D'Lo is unreliable as hell in the playoffs, and he's a cancer in the locker room.
Huh?
That's what he is.
Where's the cancer in the locker room coming from? Years ago in L.A.?
Well, no,
It was
Minnesota.
I was just watching that D'Lo DeJounte argument.
How he left Minnesota was horrible. You have Alex Rodriguez going out in interviews saying that the first thing you got to do when you're building a great organization is getting rid of bad apples. He's talking about D'Lo because they brought in Mike Conley to replace him.
All the Lakers players did was praise D'Angelo Russell.
We talking about the same D'Lo that during the playoffs a report came out that if he got benched he'd be unhappy. I'm not taking that. D'Lo, I think he's not great in the locker room, and I also think that he doesn't perform in the playoffs. He had 2 series in LA in the first and second round where he was good. West Conference Finals he didn't show up, and every single playoff series before that he did not show up.
He was good.
So let's not act like trading Kyrie Irving for D'Lo is gonna be a good move for Dallas. That'll be disastrous.
I agree.
That'll be disastrous.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
The question I pose when it comes to this, when it comes to the salary cap, when it comes to these super teams, that's why I think the era of super teams is over. You have to draft all your stars. The question I pose is that, is it fair that teams are restricted this much financially? Because a team like the Celtics, Bucks, Warriors that draft their stars and develop them homegrown and now have to pay them because their contracts come up, is it fair for them to be restricted financially for good scouting, for good developing, for good management? It seems a bit too harsh. I understand the punishment for teams that are just trying to go out and buy their way to success, like the Clippers, for example. But for teams that are homegrown, it does seem a bit unfair, but it does even out the playing field in the NBA.
You said a lot.
It's either you say a lot or hey guys.
You know,
I'm just feeding all of this in because this is funny. This is a great strategic move by Kyrie Irving. Great strategic move by LeBron James. I also agree with you. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's very unrealistic. LeBron James, it's just certain players that don't get bought out. And LeBron James
why is that even an idea?
1,000% one of them. I do think Kyrie wanting LeBron to come to Dallas is very interesting because it shows a sense of, this is the only guy I can play with or I can win with. This is a guy that I should have. He understands that he should have never left a long time ago. So it seems like it's a bit of accountability.
I should still be in Cleveland.
In that sense. I don't think it's going to happen. I do think Dallas is pretty much stuck. I think you're kind of in this middle position where, you have the 10th pick. What does the 10th pick look like next to a player like Luka?
Taylor Hendricks, who knows?
Possibly. And you also have to pay Kyrie Irving. That's a situation that, and like you said, you have a lot of dead money on the roster or
That's
just
true.
money allocated to players that shouldn't be getting paid that much money. And then Luka, we don't know if he's going to stay. This situation doesn't look like it's going to keep him in Dallas. It looks a little bleak and very unserious in Dallas right now. But in terms of the LeBron situation, LeBron's going to stay in L.A. I think LeBron is 100% going to stay in L.A. I do think Kyrie going to Los Angeles, they shouldn't do. You just went to the WCF. I mean, we could talk about y'all going to the WCF with role players. You look at the Knicks, also another situation. It was just Jaylen Brown and good role players. They went to the. Oh, I'm sorry, Jalen Brunson.
He was
and,
so
and
close to
good role
going to the
players.
finals.
I wouldn't say that, but they was good players. Go to the second round. Miami Heat, another team, star role players to the finals. There's so many situations where you don't need to just crowd it up with a bunch of stars. You can just make it work with 2 to 1 star. A lot of good role players. They get hot at the right time. It happens. I do think though LeBron is gonna stay in LA, and I think you guys can build a really good roster around him. I think that's the most important part. And you got AD. He held up for as long as he could. And what we've seen in a long time, but we don't know if that's going to be consistent. Hence why you continue to build.
I don't want to hear this nonsense all season. Hey, can you rely on him?
We want to believe because he's a great player. We want to see him on the court, but that's why you continue to build good role players around him to keep, even if he's not.
Do you believe,
continue
Joel?
up?
Do you believe that AD can stay healthy?
Cross my fingers.
Even LeBron too. LeBron's getting up there where it's like, yo,
tragic, bro, because
yeah.
he was so fire before the
he's
foot.
old.
But he was so
And now
good.
he's gonna get surgery on his foot.
Good. I'm happy.
He's old.
Hey,
Tatum's getting surgery on his wrist.
Huh? Who?
Tatum on his wrist.
Oh, dude, good for him.
You heard it in
Why does it,
last
wait, hold on.
playoffs.
Wait. Why are you bringing it up?
We're talking about, I don't know, injuries. Off-season surgeries.
We're talking about the Lakers and
You
Dallas.
brought up Marcus Smart straight.
Yeah, I said I was wrong for that, and I apologize. Why'd you bring up Tatum?
Yeah, good. Love that.
Why'd you blame the Warriors though?
Because it's very obvious that they restricted the cap and anything you can do with your money because you're a super team.
But why is it our fault that?
Because it was Kevin Durant, it was Steph Curry, it was
Well, it's
Klay
not our-
Thompson, it was
well, they-
Draymond Green, and it was Andre Iguodala,
Well, whose
and you
fault
guys
is
ruined
that?
the game. You ruined the game.
We ruined the game.
You ruined
Kevin
the
Durant
game.
could have went anywhere.
Yeah, and I hate him.
Boston was in the running. Cleveland actually with
Should've
LeBron, they were
the
also in the
Celtics.
running.
I actually take back what I said. I don't think Kevin Durant going to Golden State is what led to the CBA.
I don't care. I'm going to stand on that.
Kevin Durant going to Golden State
They took pay cuts.
it was just an upsurge in the salary cap that season, and also Bob Myers' foresight to sign Steph Curry to such a team-friendly deal is the reason why they were able to sign Kevin Durant.
foresight. Yeah, I mean, it was a
It
gamble.
was, he signed him to a long-term deal with the ankle injuries.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was like a gamble. He signed him to a gamble, and then it so happened that Steph turned into the best shooter ever. And then Kevin Durant wanted to come play. Dre took
Not
a pay
just
cut.
best shooter ever, but two-time MVP.
Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying. But Klay took a pay cut. Drake took a pay cut. Shit's happened.
I think that they're doing this because of the Clippers mostly. I do.
What did they really do?
I mean, you blaming the Warriors. They only sign players they draft.
They're doing this because
Well, it's Kevin Durant also being able to join.
Steve Ballmer's
I
the
don't care
richest
about
owner in the
2022
NBA.
at all. I was happy for you
Oh,
guys.
yeah, I'm saying.
Fuck them.
It's the 2017, 2018, 2019 seasons that I'm just like,
It's just funny because Cleveland wanted Kevin Durant too.
who
hilarious.
didn't want him?
So what's the problem if we get him?
You guys were a 73
So
win
if LeBron,
team,
if Kevin Durant would have went to Cleveland, you would have felt the same way.
but he wouldn't have.
I'm asking you.
The shit
hypothetically,
that's
answer the question.
crazy is he really is like, nah, I don't want to play with the number one best player in the world.
should've just
I
gone
want
to
to play with the
Boston.
number two best player in the
We
world,
had the
or
team
number
set.
three, whatever you wanted to
He
say.
wanted to play in
Curry
the
was
best
2 or
system
3.
in the world at
Okay,
the time.
That's what he really wanted to do.
Yeah, the best system in the world at the time.
He wanted to play in
He wanted
that.
easy
wanted
way for a
to-
championship.
that's
Let's be
it.
honest.
What do we
Cleveland would have
mean?
been easy.
But playing, I don't want to play with LeBron.
I mean, Cleveland didn't really run the system. It was LeBron ball.
And Kyrie.
And
Just,
Kyrie,
hey,
and it worked.
Kevin Durant wanted to
That's
be in the
fucking
system.
awesome.
play DeMar DeRozan. It should work.
I want to be in a system that won 73 games. The team that I blew a 3-1
It's a
lead
beautiful
to.
system.
Yeah,
You would
but
love it.
Can we stop?
Anybody
Can we
would love
stop? No shit. It's a
Tatum's
great
coming
system.
to Golden State.
No, he's not.
He's coming to LA, bro. That's
Tatum
actually
wants to
happening.
grind.
Like fucking grind has Tatum been through?
Tatum would kill to wear
He's
that
been
purple and gold.
heartbroken in ECF.
No,
and
he's
BCF.
been in the playoffs every year of his life.
Nah, bro. He's actually coming to LA. I know you're scared of it.
He has no
He does,
grind.
anywhere it's
know,
LA
I
or
know,
fucking Golden
I
State.
know.
But
Tragic.
he's a Celtic for life.
I don't know.
He should come play with Steph.
He would desperately want to wear that purple and gold.
You see him talk the way he talks about
I
Boston.
can't
He
wait for
loves
him to
Boston.
be
I
my
remember
new
when
favorite
Clay
player.
said he can't wait to play in front of the Lakers.
Be honest. He comes to LA. He's dead to you.
Damn near.
What's worse, Revis going to the Pats or Tatum going to the Lakers?
Fuck.
And they run.
I don't know, bro. You reacted.
I don't know.
You reacted pretty harshly
And
to
Pats
won the
Revis.
poster.
That was
Pats won the ring.
amazing.
I had to take it.
It was
down.
on his Instagram for a minute.
I still have it in my archives.
Fuck you, Revis.
That's a good question. I
I'm
don't know
actually
what would
happy
hurt
he won a
more.
ring.
The thing is, he went to Tampa Bay in between
You hear
for
that?
the year.
You heard that?
What?
I'm happy Revis won a ring.
Why? With the
'Cause-
Pat? I'm happy he won a ring, not with the Pats.
No, I'm not happy he won it with the Pats. I'm happy he won though.
He
'cause
deserves it.
He deserves
He
it.
does.
He's one of the best corners to ever play.
Maybe I should
I'm
be
happy
better.
he got a
You
ring.
ever thought about that part?
Oh my God.
Spit. Now we are.
Maybe.
Him on this team, we'd have the best cornerback duo
Ever.
in history.
History is nuts.
I don't know.
If he-
Akeem-
if he-
Then Denver had a.
Akeem Talib, Chris Harris,
Yeah, I was about
Bradley
to-
Roby.
Stop
playing
Sauce,
with
us.
Revis,
Sauce Gardner,
and
DJ
DJ.
Reed.
Well, ours existed.
Well, we're living in a
Singer.
hypothetical.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
theirs was-
I
No,
know.
but I'm telling you, ours was
that
real.
wouldn't make
Then
no
they had
sense.
Nothing.
like one of
Ours-
the best
ours
defenses.
existed.
Yeah.
You know what's real?
Sick.
That your quarterback is dog shit. now.
Okay, here
That's
we
what's
go.
real.
Really,
And our quarterback is great.
First ballot Hall of
Was.
Famer.
Oh yeah,
Super
he's
Bowl
not better
champion.
than Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, no one said that.
We got Aaron
That
Rodgers.
was a
We
crazy.
got Aaron Rodgers.
That was crazy. I won't gonna lie. He,
okay.
he cooked.
Oh, did he?
He did.
So when the Broncos,
win the
make the playoffs.
we don't care.
interesting.
We don't.
Because your Bills. What are they doing?
They made the playoffs.
Your Eagles, who I don't
Went to the
have a
Super Bowl.
disdain for,
Went to the
choked
Super
it.
Bowl.
Right, so the same way
What
that
did
I
you
have
do?
a
You
disdain
paid
towards
Russell
Mahomes,
Wilson.
you should have the
traded
same
for
thing.
Russell Wilson, and you were dog shit all year.
We were.
And you fired
We
your
had a bad coach.
That's how
Good,
bad it was.
good, and we got Champagne.
Everything you wanted didn't come to fruition.
I got
Javonte
Champagne.
Williams, you
I-
thought
Are
he
they
was going to
kinda
be
like the
elite.
Clippers?
Got hurt.
Paid
Probably
Russell
are.
Wilson, traded
They're trying to
first,
just
paid
pay
Sean
for great
Payton.
teams.
You know, this guy just calls
They
the
cooked
Clippers. No, we have 3 championships. How many championships do you have?
Oh shit.
We have more championships in the last 30 years than you do in your entire
We also
franchise.
have more
You know,
championships.
forget
You
about
haven't
it.
been
We
a
have
fan
the
for
same,
30 years.
We have, all right, fine. In the time that I've been a fan, sure. In the let's see, the 10 plus years that I've been a fan, we have the equal amount of championships that the Jets have in their franchise history.
Congratulations.
Well, 0 because he's
That's
never
sick.
seen any.
I'm taking 69
I don't want to do
to the
that.
bank.
I don't want to do that.
That was historical for the NFL.
It was.
It was Super Bowl 3.
It was.
It was a
It's
guaranteed.
the
to win
only
Super Bowl.
reason
What
that
year was Super Bowl
Namath is
three?
in the Hall of
69.
Fame. Actually,
69?
Same year the Mets won.
So
Wish I
let
was
me
alive.
what
It
a
was
great year for New
69.
York, man.
So let
Oh
me-
my
so wait.
God, legendary.
Let me get
about
this
the
straight.
peak.
You're a Jets and a Celtics fan.
Yes.
The Jets won a ring in '69.
Yes.
The Celtics have 11 of their rings in
Shit's
the
about to
60s
get.
and the
He's about to get
70s.
rude.
All right.
I love the grind.
I'm not gonna say it. You don't love the grind. You don't love the grind.
How
at all.
don't I love
No,
the
he does-
Jets?
no, it's not.
Jets, yes.
It's not
The Jets,
grind.
yeah.
It's not grind. It's misery.
It's hilarious.
It's a grind.
At least the Celtics won in 2010. That's why he loves Doc Rivers.
2008.
It was 2008.
It's
You missed that
2008,
year.
my bad.
Yeah. You were.
That's
you're-
why he loves Doc Rivers.
It wasn't even a double-digit year.
Oh, fuck, I was
You,
live.
the Celtics won a ring when we couldn't even be friends. That's
We could have been. We just didn't know each other.
At one moment, that's where we literally couldn't be friends. We couldn't go to the bathroom together or nothing.
When's the last time the Bulls won?
He's talking about segregation.
98.
No, yeah, it's very obvious. We know that.
Very,
Were you alive?
I actually was. I was born April 16, 1998.
Say,
They
I
won
was.
a ring
I
after
was
that.
1.
We're here.
So
I wasn't.
we weren't even talking.
I was born the year that the Broncos won a Super Bowl. Pretty gnarly.
Respect.
Thanks, man.
Happens to the best of you. You were born when the Jets never won.
correct.
Oh my God.
Just wait till this year.
We're gonna win this year.
Oh God.
We're due.
gonna
That's
go
all I
far.
know.
You love to say we're due.
We
One
are.
of these years.
It's gonna happen one of the next 2 years. It's gonna happen the same way it happened to Stafford, the same way it happened to Brady. They
I'm
changed
quite literally
teams,
sure the Bills
and
have
they
said
win.
we're due for a long time.
If anyone's due, it is the Bills.
Yeah.
Let's be
Well, the
honest.
Bills went to 4 Super Bowls
Yeah,
and lost.
and they
every
kept saying
single
every
one.
year, we're due.
I respect it. I don't think there's
Broncos
anything
are
worse
due.
than that. If
no.
the Jets went to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost every year, I don't think I'd be on the planet.
If the Bulls went to 4 straight NBA titles and they did not win a single one, I'd probably hang it up. I'd probably would stop watching the NBA, bro.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
No, that's sick, bro. There's got to be a sense of like rigged or something. Why
Yeah.
are we going 4 straight times and we're not winning?
You gotta get lucky.
That's probably how
once.
Utah felt. They went back
They
to
did
back and
choke.
just wouldn't win.
Morton Anderson missed the field goal. That was pretty terrible.
Yeah,
That-
far right.
Yeah, something like that.
That was their first one. That was their first
That was
Super
the
Bowl.
first Super Bowl?
That was the first one.
And now they have the Jets in the division, so they're fucked. Not going back.
I'm fucking dead. And Miami. Miami's actually going to win.
I believe the
division.
Bills, they were losing to the Cowboys. They lost to the Cowboys, lost to the Niners.
It was a great team.
They lost to Giants, and that was
Who was
Bill
their quarterback,
Belichick
Jim
and
Kelly?
DC.
Yeah, facts.
Bill Belichick
They
shut
lose to the
down their
Cowboys
offense.
twice.
They probably did, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think the Cowboys two people.
You saying Miami is hilarious, but I'll let you.
Why is that?
I'll let you walk on that.
Why, though? They could arguably have the best defense in the league. And the best offense. Wouldn't that be some shit?
Best offense for sure.
Yo, Tua is actually coming for it. It's going to be awesome.
Coming for what?
We're going to talk about it later.
Oh, okay. Oh, got it. You're nuts.
Am I?
Yeah.
You see the meat that he's put on.
Yo, Fields has better odds than him.
Yeah, and
That's crazy.
Better quarterback.
Vegas is stealing money.
Yeah, he's in the
That
NFC.
is stolen
He
money.
stink. NFC does.
What does
Stink.
that have to do with anything? MVP is he?
I mean, if he gets like 10, 11
You
wins,
have to be top 3 team, top 3 record type shit.
painful. I mean, if he gets 11 wins, top 4 seed in the NFC, team's dog shit.
Fields
win
not
11
doing
games.
that.
Better chance A Mo arm.
Is he has 1,500 rushing yards, like 30?
1,500? Oh my god.
Nah, if he rushes for 50,
Yeah,
if he rushes for 1,500
if he has like a
rushing yards,
Lamar
I'll
year,
vote
like,
for him.
Yeah, you know.
We're looking at EPA. Hold up. What's up?
Oh god.
Number
See
two,
this?
Tua.
Look,
Number
filter,
two.
filter it.
Fire.
Okay, weeks 11 through 18 EPA.
He filtered it. That's hilarious.
Tua is ranked 28th.
Is he
He
serious?
filtered
He
it.
is serious. Hate to break it.
What Zach was? Did he even play in those weeks?
Oh,
Give me
you
that.
really want me to know
Played
that?
like
Zach Wilson. Let's see. Well, Mike
Mike
White was
White.
23rd.
Let's go. Never
I don't think Zach played enough snaps. I have to do.
Screaming at
Let me
not
do
enough
50
snaps.
I got his ass.
Should he even play 50?
I don't know. Let's see. I think he played 50.
I don't know.
It's possible.
He started at least one game.
Played against the Lions.
Yeah.
Didn't he get benched?
Oh yeah, he's 43rd.
He got benched against the. Oh my god! Wow.
My goodness, he was horrible.
Sandwich between Sam Ellinger and
Wait for it.
And Matt Ryan.
Oh,
Matt
is
Ryan
that
and Bryce Perkins.
Bryce Perkins, the Rams' 3rd, 4th string, whatever. he
Tua
was.
was sandwiched between Tyler Huntley and Deshaun Watson.
No, that's a
Weeks
crazy
11 through
sandwich.
18.
Deshaun Watson statement.
Maybe this is the year. Who knows? Who knows? Deshaun Watson coming back.
Well, Deshaun Watson's had his years, but he needs to get
Yeah,
back
he's
here.
already proven, but he has to prove himself once again.
He does.
Nuts.
Before we go on to the next topic, a quick word from
Shady
Rays.
Shady.
Kick off the new year with new gear built to last. Our friends at ShadyRays have you covered from the suns to the slopes with premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and much more. ShadyRays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. That's not all. ShadyRays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked.
Sweeties.
Exclusively for our listeners, ShadyRays is giving out their best deal of the new year. Go to ShadyRays.com and use code PICKASIDE for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 200,000 people. Now, Riv, this is Steve Kerr topic for you because on Draymond's podcast, he said none of these guys in Miami are sitting there saying, well, I didn't play. Or, man, they put in so-and-so. They're all just about winning. And I think it's obvious he's singling out 2 players on the Warriors, and that's Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga. So how do you feel about Steve Kerr airing out some dirty laundry on Draymond's podcast?
Does this not sound a little dramatic? Like, why are we automatically assuming that he's talking about his
Who else
team?
could he possibly?
Yeah,
But
let's-
why-
after
but-
what just happened,
Do you think
And there
Steve
was-
Kerr is petty like that?
I mean, there was reports.
I think Steve Kerr is
throughout
petty
like
like
the
that.
I don't
last
wanna
back end of the
dramatize
month in the
this shit,
playoffs
though.
about it. I think Steve Kerr's a smart guy. I think he's a very intelligent human being. So I think him doing that, knowing that it's on Draymond Green's podcast and knowing that it would get out, kind of warrants some things. I mean, to me, I read it as like he was singling out Poole and Kuminga. I don't think it's Moody. I really don't think it's Moody because Moody played. So I think he's singling out Kuminga and
It took
Jordan
him some
Poole.
time to get minutes, though.
Yeah, and I think you can attribute it to multiple things. I think the lack of accountability in that video is very odd, especially from Draymond Green. Like, you cannot be there co-signing that when you're kind of the guy that was a part of the head of the ship. That's
He's the reason why it went down.
yeah, like, but and the same thing, like, he's the reason, but he's not the reason because I don't think he has nothing to do with Jonathan Kuminga. I think the way Kerr just handled Kuminga was just wrong. Like, I think, and he has no explanation for why he handled Kuminga.
No bias included in this at all.
No, it's like a fact. He was playing great from I want to say January, February. For his standards, he was playing great from January to February. Towards the end of the year, he was figuring out his role. He was great defensively for us. He was a great rebounder. He was a great roller. So you thought he was going to play. He had like a couple bad moments in the Kings series. He didn't see the court, and we needed him especially against the Lakers. He would have been very important for that, and like he gave no explanation as to why Kuminga wasn't playing. And then for the Poole thing, listen, shit sucks. I mean, looking at Strus and looking at Gabe Vincent as those young players, comparing them to kind of Poole and Kuminga, who are still really, really young, especially Kuminga, who's just turned 20 years old. I think it was really odd, but comparing the situations, you really can't. It's two different situations. Spo, Riley, they run a different program over there. But I just think the timing of it all was very, very odd, especially, like, it gave me the hint that they're getting traded. I think they're going to trade the young guys, especially off that video. But it just, the timing of it all was really, really odd. And I think this handling the situation starts at the top and goes all the way to the bottom. Starts with Bob, starts with Kerr, heads over to the vets, and then it goes back down to the young players. Everybody just was at a disconnect all year, and it started with that punch to the face.
Good, Joel.
Steve Kerr looks like a joke.
Oh,
Holding them.
Holy shit.
Holding Jordan Poole and Kuminga accountable like this. The reason I say that is because comparing the Heat's role players to the Warriors' role players is not a fair comparison. We're talking about players within the Heat organization and Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, who are undrafted players. There's no expectation on them as players. When you are drafted with the 7th overall pick in the draft, like Kuminga was, you are expected to be a really good player off the gate. And I am sure Kuminga, while he's sitting on the bench, he's seeing players like Josh Giddey, like Franz Wagner, excel in places where they're able to play. It's getting to him. He's a high pick. And the expectation you have when you're a high pick versus an undrafted guy are two different things. And when you're a coach, you have to handle the situations similarly. You can't just be like, I'm expecting these 22-year-olds who Jordan Poole was just arguably the 3rd best player on a championship run. He was probably the 2nd most consistent offensive player on the run to accept not playing. For Jonathan Kuminga to not play. For Moses Moody to not play, even though I don't think Moses Moody was complaining, but you can't expect them to be fine like the Heat's undrafted players would be fine if they don't play. It's two different things. And on top of that, Steve Kerr is on the podcast with the guy that punched Jordan Poole in the face before the season. Draymond Green was not held accountable for that. He wasn't. Klay Thompson shot 34% from the field in the Western Conference Finals. Every single press conference, Steve Kerr gave a vote of confidence for Klay Thompson. Like, he usually makes those shots.
Why wouldn't you?
This is what I'm saying. There was no accountability for what Dre did. There was no accountability for what Klay Thompson did. Yet you're trying to hold Jonathan Kuminga and Jordan Poole accountable. If you're going to hold them accountable, which I agree with, you got to hold everybody accountable because these young players see that. The fact that they are the only ones that are getting called out when the veterans on the roster are not playing bad or are doing things to harm the team, and you are not calling that out equally. I think the reason why players are more easily able to buy into Spo's system is because Spo will hold everybody accountable. And they have a leader in Jimmy Butler there who will definitely get in your face if he sees the wrong thing. I'm not trying to discredit Curry's leadership because I think Curry's an exceptional leader, but he leads in a different way. He doesn't lead with that passion in your face,
the way that
aggressive
Draymond
attitude.
does, though?
It was probably golfing.
That's the way that Draymond leads, but Draymond loses a lot of credibility within that locker room when as soon as there's some pushback, he punches somebody in the face.
He lost the young guys the moment he punched Poole in the face. 1,000%.
So I respect Steve Kerr,
Man,
but
haven't y'all jokingly said on the podcast before that, hey, I understand
it's
where
a
he's coming
joke,
from.
but that's a joke. That's not the truth. That's not the truth. I respect Steve Kerr, but his job is to hold everybody accountable and to have everybody on the same page. And the failure to do that, to me, goes more on the coach than the 21-year-old players. And not only that, Riv mentioned a great point. Jonathan Kuminga was playing great to the end of the season. In the Western Conference Finals, the Warriors needed more semis, my bad. In the second round, the Warriors needed more lengthy athletes that can defend, and they needed size in that series. And Steve Kerr starts JaMychal Green in game 2. Then when that doesn't work, goes to Gary Payne II. I think Gary Payne II is a good energy player. he's not better than Jonathan Kuminga. He's not. And it would have made more sense to start Kuminga. So the fact that Steve Kerr, in opportunities where the best thing for the team to win is to play Kuminga, blatantly did not, shows me there's something there. And that's why I don't give Steve Kerr a pass, and I think him calling him out, it looked like a joke. Because he needs to take the majority of the blame in this situation.
He started off said Steve Kerr's a joke.
I'm not going to go that far to say Steve Kerr is a joke, because I think two things are true here. I think Steve Kerr is right with what he's saying, but I also think he shouldn't have said this. His quote directly was, and you know this from our groups that we've had, when you have that championship mentality, every guy is bought in. Every guy's just trying to win. Nobody cares about any of that other stuff. You don't go into the locker room saying, well, I should have played more. You just want to win. And he's right. Very rarely, specifically if you want to look at this Miami team, you're not looking at a championship roster and have role players or really any players having a problem with anything going on in the organization. Very rare. I mean, obviously years past, think like Bulls with Jordan, Rodman, that type of stuff. But generally speaking, you have a team that is locked in. There's continuity there. There's people. The team respects each other. The coaches respect the players the coaches, the players with each other. So I think what Steve Kerr said in a vacuum is correct, right? And I think Poole and Kuminga singling them out, not that he did, but obviously this is who we're talking about. I think they're both in kind of different situations. Jordan Poole has no one but himself to blame for his lack of play, right? I mean, he scored in this playoff run, he averaged 10 points on 34, 25, 77% efficiency. I understand being upset. You played 16 games in game 1 against the Lakers, 10 minutes in game 3, but he couldn't make shots. And if Jordan Poole is out there not making his shots, there's not much more you're looking at him to contribute at a high level.
This bro can't play defense.
So Jordan Poole has no one by himself to blame. Kuminga's a different situation because he's really untapped potential. We've seen him play minutes. We've seen him show flashes, but it's really hard, especially for someone this young, to get in any sort of rhythm and play high-level basketball. So on one hand, I understand why Steve Kerr maybe didn't want to put the pressure on him in the playoffs in these big moments. You're going up against LeBron James. Maybe he didn't want to put that type of pressure on Kuminga.
Moses Moody on LeBron.
I understand.
Did
But
well.
I was going to say, on the other hand,
wasn't
Kuminga
horrible.
is still probably one of your best defenders. He's going to bring energy. He's versatile. He's athletic. So there's a lot of things, especially once you're down in the series and you got to just find some shit to work. I mean, he never played more than 10 minutes against the Lakers. So I understand why Kuminga, and there was a report out there saying that if Kerr's not going to play him or play him consistently, he wants out. And I understand he's going into year 3 and he's not getting the type of burn, honestly, he deserves after being one of the top draft picks. So Steve Kerr has, he has the stain in the locker room in the organization to really say whatever he wants. But I don't know at this moment, going into this offseason, where you already have 1,000 other issues going on. You have the punch still lingering from last offseason. You have Draymond's free agency. You have people wanting to trade Clay. You have people wanting to trade Poole. I mean, this whole roster, damn near, except for Steph Curry, is under question in Steve Kerr's job. So I don't know. While there's a reason to call them out and maybe it's justified, I don't know why you would do it now when you have all these other issues going on in your organization.
Not to mention now, but do it on the guy who punched one of your teammates. I just
think when it comes to Kerr, I think he just has to hold himself accountable for how the season went. I think there's a lot of moments that if you're a Warriors fan and you watch the team very closely, that Steve Kerr definitely messed up in a lot of this playoff series and playoff games. He could have coached a better game. And Jonathan Kuminga, while he's raw, he's a good basketball player. I don't think he's somebody that is like an Aleksej Pokusevski where he just cannot play.
Respect Poku.
Jonathan Kuminga is a very good player. He's already a great defender. He's good in the short row. He's a good finisher around the basket. The shot needs work, but the three-point shot improved this season. If he's in Toronto, I feel like he averages the same stats that Scotty Barnes did. In the same minutes.
Scotty Stray.
There's always a Scotty.
Am I lying?
Don't ask me no questions.
I mean, it's not an insane bar to clear with all due respect to Scotty.
It's rookie of the year you're talking about, man.
People are like 15 this year.
He wasn't that good. Accountability when it comes to Draymond Green, a 4-time champion, one of the best defensive players of our generation, one of the best defensive players of all time. Do I agree with Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole? Absolutely not. It's a teammate. That's a brother. You don't do that. You don't lay hands on a brother. There's other ways to handle arguments with one of your guys. It never should result to that. However, in terms of accountability, when Dre is the leader, it's hard to... I want to word this correctly because I don't want to sound like I'm anti-Poole. I know I've been anti-Poole on the show before, but this isn't a whole anti-Poole thing. Jordan Poole simply did not play well in the postseason. Jordan Poole did not play well in the regular season. He had a couple moments here and there towards the end of the season. We started to see him heat up, but we see a lot of players start to heat up towards the end of the season because we know what's going on. Teams are now going through different rotations. They want to see the young guys get burned. They want to see what they have in these guys. And Poole did play well towards the end of the season last month. But then it comes into the postseason. Joel already mentioned the splits. We saw how he looked against the Lakers. Game 1, Warriors had a strong chance to steal Game 1. I say steal because they just had a 7-game series. They played tough as nails with the Lakers. They were hitting 3 after 3. It seemed like they could not miss. And the dude decides to take a logo 3, although he was in space. He had space. You like the confidence.
He was great that game. That was the one game he was actually great.
Okay, yes,
like
he
his
had.
best
You're right.
game in the
You're right.
postseason.
You're right. 100%. Let's not take that away from him. He had a very solid game, and then in the last moment, he just makes a boneheaded move. I get it. You're very confident in your abilities, and I can appreciate that. But you got to know your role. How you mentioned it. Hey, you're a role player. You got to know your role. Do a job. Steve Kerr mentioned it. Know your role. You got to know that in that moment, that you're not the guy for the shot. If you're going to do anything, let Steph get the ball. Let him drag the attention. Let him kick it out. Let him make that decision because Steph Curry's earned that right. And then the rest of the series, you mentioned it, Joel. He struggled shooting. And then if you're struggle shooting, missing your shots, how we talked about MPJ, right? You have 2 jobs. Play well, play some solid defense, hit your jumpers. Here's the thing with Jordan Poole. He doesn't have that defensive responsibility. His responsibility is to score the basketball and occasionally play make. And if you can't do either of those, you're essentially useless to us. So, yes, Jordan Poole was an issue there, right? It's hard to defend Draymond in that situation in terms of hitting Jordan Poole, no doubt. That's not something I look at and think, hey, I agree with you guys. That needs accountability. But in terms of on the basketball court, even Dre accepted it at one point when he missed that one game. I believe it was due to suspension because he had too many technicals. The game after, he said, hey, coach, if you need to sit me, I can come off the bench for you. I'm willing to do that for the betterment of the team. They ended up winning that game. It ended up leading to the momentum shift for the Golden State Warriors. Draymond went and did that as one of the leaders. He went to the coach and said, hey, coach, I'm willing to come off the bench because if that's going to benefit the team, I'm all for it. There's accountability there. In terms of Klay Thompson, right? What we've known Klay Thompson to be is a historically solid playoff performer. He struggled these last 2 years, no doubt, but this regular season, Klay Thompson was arguably the best that we've seen him. And then he comes into the postseason, disappointing for sure. But I understand Kerr saying, hey, we trust him. Those are shots he usually makes because he's a 4-time champion. Klay loves to joke about that, but in this one scenario, I will defend him. He's a 4-time champion. He's shown up in big moments. Poole was great last year, was very poor this year for the entirety of the year. Do I believe in subbing? If that's what you guys are believing that he did, I won't be the lone guy saying, hey, I'm not buying it. Do I believe in subtweeting your own guys? Absolutely not. I'm not for that. But again, we can just sit here and I'll sit here and say, I think Kerr is more so praising because as Joel said in the quote, he's saying, hey, we had a championship a bunch of championship guys that understood that. And Jordan Poole was one of those championship guys. He played well. He got the burn. This year, he did not play well. He did not get the burn. That's what happens. That's the NBA. So again, I'm all for Kerr praising the Miami Heat because they deserve it. The role players have been amazing. They've heightened their game to limits that I don't think anyone had expected them. And that's a credit to them. And Kerr was giving them their praise. But I will live with you guys in the sense of feeling as if he is subtweeting his own guys. It's irresponsible because, yes, you're the head coach. You want to not be immature, but he did not lie. He did not say that. He did not say anything wrong, in my opinion, because these guys, if you want to say Kuminga deserved burn, he did not look good in that Kings series, and that was the first series of the playoffs. That's not a great tone setter. Against the Lakers, you could say they used size, but so he tried to cycle through things. I think Gary Payton was great for them last year, and that's why he decided to go back to them. It was understandable in the playoffs when you needed
traded
them most.
for him.
Exactly. He traded 5 second-round picks to get him back.
He traded
to
it
get
for
him
him
back
instead of just giving Kuminga the role.
No, for sure. for sure. I'm not going to disagree with you there. But GP was so great for them last year. I understood the logic behind it, and they ended up winning that game when they inserted GP into the lineup. But that was also when they put JaMychal Green into the lineup. So I think that Kerr has earned the right to say certain things because, of course, he has a Hall of Fame resume as a coach, and he is just coming off a championship. So I won't be as critical as saying he's a joke. But again,
what he said was a joke. It was a joke. Because it's like, for example, I'm going to equate, because coaching is basically you're in charge of a roster. Mm-hmm. So I'll equate it to parenting in some sense. If I'm a parent and I have 2 kids, or let's say I'm a parent and I have kids, and you're a parent, you have kids, and we're having a conversation that we know our kids are going to hear because, this conversation is going to be heard. And I'm like, man, my kids misbehave all the time. And I'm like, man, and I think what makes it better when how this parenting works is that their kids don't misbehave because one didn't get the toy that the other wanted or whatever like that.
Let me ask you, did you openly say my kids misbehave? In that scenario, yes. In this scenario, he's not openly saying
he's beating around the bush.
If you're dealing with something within your team, and then you go on somebody's podcast and say, "Well, this is great about their team," and that was a blatant issue with your team, it is a sub.
Drew, I think what you're missing is Steph Curry quite literally had a whole speech about guys complaining about not playing.
Yeah,
like he did. This was right before Game 7 against the Kings. He literally had a speech before they got on the bus talking about guys not playing. If you don't want to play, don't get on this bus. All that good love stuff. Cool. They follow the leader. And then this comes out, and Steve Kerr's kind of like, oh, yeah, Miami Heat guys, they do this, they do that. It's like the reports have been happening, and Steve Kerr's not dumb. He's seen the reports.
But you guys came over that, though, because Steph got on their ass. You guys ended up rallying. Of course, it was Steph Curry.
Steph just had 50.
He was amazing.
I think.
But again,
Steve
we can't
Kerr
separate the fact that they were not good.
Who?
The role players.
Who wasn't good?
Jordan Poole was not good. Moses Moody in limited opportunity. I wouldn't say he was bad. But again, do you blame him for not playing him?
For the regular season, yes.
All right, that's different. I'm talking postseason.
He was playing Anthony Lamb over Moses Moody.
Again, I don't agree with that.
Yes, I blame a coach who
in the regular season, I agree.
Plays guys for a portion of the regular season, then stops playing them, and then plays them again, then gets upset when they make a mistake. You just stop playing them.
But Kerr's been notorious for fucking around with lineups.
Not to mention, with
veteran lineups. Mm-hmm. He's never done this with young guys, and so it's a different feeling.
We also last year, you guys had the young guys, and you still
didn't
overcame.
play. They just didn't play, which is fine.
But Jordan Poole obviously did.
Yeah, and Jordan Poole was great last year.
He was. But then he played this year.
But this is where you're losing me. This is why I know. This is why I'm trying to explain to you. Jordan Poole had a stretch of 25 to 30 games last year where he didn't play well. Mm-hmm. He still played a lot of minutes. Mm-hmm. This year, he had the same exact stretch, and he was losing minutes. This is not he plays bad, he loses minutes thing. This is not that, because he's a streaky player. That's just what he is.
Agreed.
He had the same thing last year where he wasn't
His
good.
Stats overall were way better last year.
They were, yeah, but he still had a stretch of where he wasn't good for a portion of the time.
And also a question for you.
Season though, you could get away within the regular season. Once playoffs time, you can't. Sit
and also,
there
a question for you.
I don't disagree with the playoffs.
Defense is not good.
No, I don't disagree with the playoffs. Him not playing in that. I don't disagree. Okay. I don't think he should have played in the playoffs.
I'm
he
glad
wasn't
we
good.
level there.
But the Kuminga, you have to throw in something else, bro. And throwing in Anthony Lamb.
Not Lamb. It was more so GP.
Against the Kings, it wasn't a good matchup for John at the Kuminga. The Fox, Monk, they're too fast. But against the Lakers, who play big guys like Rui, who play LeBron, like Kuminga's one of our best defenders against LeBron.
We were still getting out in transition on y'all, though.
Who?
Just in
Kuminga didn't play.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, yes, the Kings are faster than us, but we still were great in transition ourselves.
It's not the same offense.
No, absolutely not.
What's question for you? Yep. And also, what was the underlying storyline for the Warriors coming into this season? It was the fact that the entire bench was
the two timeline
young.
Yeah,
that's what it was. The Warriors blatantly, intentionally did not bring back veterans, or did not actively go out and seek veteran replacements because they were going to trust their young players to take that next step. And Steve Kerr never fully trusted Kuminga or Moody to prove themselves in that way throughout the regular season.
It's just tough because, yes, I agree with you. Kuminga had a stretch in January, February where he was playing really good basketball. But I look at these young guys, and they were inconsistent. So it was hard to find a strong sense of trust in these guys, especially in the biggest moment of the season. That's the only way I look at it.
I mean, who else was consistent?
The only thing I can sit here and agree with you guys is if you believe that Steve Kerr is coming out and openly trying to subtweet these guys, that's a bad look. I agree.
I'm not,
And that's why it's a joke.
But here's the thing, though.
But is he wrong?
He's not wrong.
But this is where the accountability problem is. Yes, Kuminga was yes, Poole was inconsistent. Nobody's denying. I've been open about how Poole has not been good this year.
I know that.
But so was Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson was, and I don't care about those 4 rings.
Regular season,
We're talking about the playoffs right now. We're talking about the playoffs. I don't care about in the regular season. He was good when Steph went out.
Correct.
That's when he was great. When him and Poole were running the show, that's when he showed his best.
Isn't that what you want?
No, that's fine.
You
But
need to be great with
you
Curry.
can't. But you can't say that because Poole was also great in that moment.
He wasn't
and you
great.
Don't,
He was
and you
good.
know you
No,
don't
he
give
was
him his
Curry.
credit.
No, he had
when Curry was
extra
out.
attempts. His efficiency was not good.
But here's the thing: Poole was still running the offense. You
He
don't
was.
give him his
He
credit
was.
for keeping us in games and winning us games.
I said
so
he had moments.
So you can't play the Klay role. And then in the playoffs, Klay was not consistent. Klay was shooting us out of games. Klay was shooting us out of momentums. There was first of all, Poole is a young player. Poole is streaky. Like I said, I don't disagree with him not playing. He was poor defensively. His offense wasn't translating. He was very bad. When his offense translates, he's not horrible on defense. He's like, okay, but when he's bad on offense, the defense lacks. I 100% agree. He shouldn't have played. But also, you have to look at your veterans who are running the show. Draymond Green didn't show energy until we were down 3-1. Klay Thompson was shooting us out of hot streaks, shooting us out of games.
Klay Thompson was the main reason you guys won.
He was the main reason, or they were double teaming Steph, or trapping Steph, and he was getting open.
Don't knock him when you say that. Hey, he shot us out of games, but then when he shot you into games and won you a game,
he shot us into one game, and we blew you out.
Not to mention, in the first round versus the Kings, Draymond Green stomped on Sabonis, got suspended next game, and the Warriors won without him.
That's what it was. I said that he got suspended for the technical fouls, but technically it was. But no,
But Jordan Poole, without Steph Curry, in 26 games, averaged 26 points and 5 assists. He shot 42% from the field and 31% from three.
That's what I was saying.
But 89% from the free throw line.
But that's what he is. He's a great free throw shooter. He's been that. His efficiency was poopy.
But that's still 26 a game.
For sure. But that was due to opportunity. And I'm not knocking him for 26.
You can't say that, though, because
Not many players can score 26.
You're plugging Poole. You're plugging Steph out, and you're putting Poole in the Steph replacement. So obviously, the attention on him, he's not going to shoot a good. No young player's doing that.
So then, what's the reason? What's the reason that when Curry came back, that the efficiency didn't go up?
Who?
Jordan Poole.
Because Jordan Poole still gets the same role off the bench.
No, but you just told me that, hey, Steph coming, now that Steph's off the court, now you're getting Steph attention. That's not exactly what you're saying, but you're saying the attention that Steph would get or normal defensive coverage. Now Jordan Poole stepping onto that occasion, you're telling me that that's the reason why his efficiency would be poor. So now when Steph Curry goes back into the lineup, you would expect that now Jordan Poole
No, because he was already inefficient all year. I'm just saying because last year when he was starting, he was efficient. That's what I'm talking about, the starting role. Last year when he was starting and Steph was hurt, he was efficient. This year, he was already poor efficiently, but he was still putting up shots. So I'm saying that when you plug into that Steph role, you're not going to have the same looks, which is understandable. Him coming off the bench, he just wasn't good coming off the bench this year. He just wasn't hitting shots. He had the same looks. He was getting the same opportunities. He had to create for other young guys. He just couldn't do it. It is what it is. But Kerr has to, no matter how many rings you got, how many DPOIs, MVPs, it don't matter.
So what have you done?
Accountability has to start from the top guy to the bottom. It happened to Michael Jordan. It happened to Kobe Bryant. It's going to happen to Steph. It should happen to Klay and Draymond. The fact that they talk about the situation more than the best player on the team is just wild to me. Like there is no accountability from top to bottom. Draymond Green he has yet to openly, fully apologize to Jordan Poole. It really hasn't happened. If you notice how the way he has apologized, it hasn't been an open, full apology. It's been kind of like beating around the bush. Yeah, I didn't hear what he said, this, that, and the third. It hasn't really been an open apology. So he has yet to really fully, and even the suspension wasn't even like
a real suspension.
Yeah, it wasn't even like, it was just like to make, because if
they had to do something.
If they didn't get caught, it would never suspended Draymond. No, it would have been nothing. So you really didn't even ride for Poole like that. You should have kind of kept. Spo would have suspended him for mad long.
You think so?
It feels like there's definitely some high school varsity versus freshman energy going on with the
Kerr and Draymond. They came up. They were together. They've been together for a long time. So I get the relationship there. But you can't do that with young players coming into the league. Like, you can't do that.
Fuck up their psyche.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And that's why I feel like Steve Kerr saying this, it just messed it up even more. Yeah. And that's why I wouldn't be surprised if both of them are traded.
The tough love. I'm a person that was raised with tough love. That's
was it all three of you got tough love or just you?
So there's different individuals that learn better with it, and I can acknowledge that. The three of us got tough love.
That's the point. This is the situation where Charles is the older brother. He don't get tough love. You get the tough love, and then your sister gets tough love. Yeah, it's like, well, Charles, just because he the older brother doesn't mean he don't get tough love. He's like, this is the problem here. Like, the young guys are getting old. And Moody is probably the one guy who's kind of like, just whatever, you know.
Yeah, he's
like,
just in the mix.
Yeah, I'm just in the middle. I'm going to get better. But Kuminga was a 7. Coming in, he was raw. We knew that. So he wasn't really going to play the first year. But now this year, you saw the stride. You saw the improvement. And, bro, you're playing JaMychal Green, Anthony Lamb. Like, bro, what are we doing? Like, come on.
Don't leave out Gary Payton.
And you trade for
No,
Gary
Gary
Payton.
Payton was fine. We
And
got him late.
DiVincenzo.
DiVincenzo was fine. I was fine with that. Him and Poole had some moments together. But, like, bro, you got to, like, what are we doing here? Now,
And also, I think that there's a lack of sympathy towards Jordan Poole with the role he had to accept, because I think last year, coming off the bench and you're just focused on scoring, and you're playing with players, veteran players that understand the offense and are able to grasp the concepts much easier, versus this year, now you're playing with DiVincenzo first year in Golden State. It's a constant shuffle of rotating guys within the lineup that you're coming off the bench with. So now Poole is playing with players that don't know the system like the veterans did.
Is Otto
And that
Porter
affects
the
it.
one person that you're looking at from last year?
Bielitsa, Otto Porter, Gary Payton II.
Gary Payton was on
he
this
was there.
team.
The second half of
it's
the
not
year.
even that. Poole shared the court more with the vets last year, because, you know, they run a lot of small
The
ball.
vets who we're talking about, though.
He was
Ray,
one of your
yes,
best players.
Clay,
yes, okay.
Wiggs,
Correct. For majority, though, when he was trusted, that's who he was running with.
Yeah. Now this year you're playing with 4 new dudes who don't know the system. Kuminga, yes, he was on the team, but he don't know the system.
facts.
Dante don't know the system. Moody don't know. Even JaMychal Green, Anthony Lamb, they don't know the system. So now you have to not only teach them, you still have to learn yourself. Because Poole, it takes like 3 to 4 years to learn that system. So Poole is still learning as it goes. So, but I'm not giving him like an insane excuse.
Poole's been on the team for what? This is year 4? Gonna go into year 4?
Yeah, but year
Or
2.
this was year 4 because next year will be year 5. You tell me about year 5.
But this
Poole.
is year 3 with the big 3 all being together.
But I definitely think the dynamic affected things. And, you know, you go from last year, Draymond Green actively.
Clay was dog shit against the Lakers. I can't.
Yeah, he wasn't
I can't watch
good.
this shit
He wasn't
again,
good.
Draymond Green last year was actively vouching for Jordan Poole to win MIP and for them to restructure how the award is given out. And now this year, you don't hear nothing about their relationship. Like, it's nothing.
No, it's just business.
Poole's just got to play better too, man. I mean, we could talk about Steve Kerr all we want, but a lot of it's going to be on Klay Thompson missing fucking everything. Jordan Poole, like, I understand you got it. Like, Kuminga should have got some look there, especially when you're down 3-1 in the series. Like, do something to get some energy in here. But if Jordan Poole is playing to the level we know Jordan Poole can play at, same thing with Klay Thompson. I understand they made the second round, but winning cures everything, right? So if they're able to get past the Lakers, there always seemed to be some animosity there. I mean, you get punched in the face, you get paid all of this money, you feel like the locker room is split some ways, because I'm sure there's some guys that were boys with Draymond, hanging out with Draymond after games in between practices and shit, and then you had your boys who were hanging out with you. So I don't want to just chalk it up to a lost season for Poole, because I think he's better than that to just be like, we could throw this season away. But I also think if you want to be fair and play devil's advocate, you could look at 100 different things that went wrong with the Warriors this year and be like, well, maybe that's a reason why Jordan Poole didn't play to what we expected.
Well, now that I have it all in front of me, Klay wasn't good last year in the playoffs.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't efficient.
Oh my God.
What was his efficiency?
Well, against the Grizzlies,
He had a good series against them, or no?
he averaged 19 points on 40% from the field, 36% from the 3-point line, 71% from the free throw line.
36. The 40% is because mostly his shots
Yeah,
are 3-point
The
attempts.
70% is pretty gross.
Yes. No, actually, not really. It's like half. It's 17
Okay.
field goal attempts, 8 from the 3-point line.
Still a lot.
Yeah. He wasn't. Against Dallas, he had a 15-point game, 15-point game, 19-point game, 12-point game, and then 32.
What was the efficiency?
That was 41% from the field,
And 3?
37%.
Okay, that's actually
It wasn't,
good.
this isn't bad.
You guys are nuts.
Okay, Celtics, actually, he did not play well against you guys. I'm almost positive.
Clay is supposed to be like a 42% 3-point shooter, though.
No, and I
At
agree
least
with you.
38,
His
like,
efficiency for
37
3
you
for
live
his
with.
standards
You
were
won the
subpar.
For the
But
second,
37
top 5 greatest shooter ever. I'm
I'm
not
not-
living with
no.
37. I need 40.
What?
Top 5 greatest shooter ever.
All right,
I
fine.
need
37 is
39.
still
That's above
very
average.
good.
It's
That's above average.
Okay,
For
very
the
good.
greatest shooter. That's above average.
Come on, 37. Who I would never
If
turn
Steph
down.
Curry's shooting 37% from 3, you're throwing a fit.
I'm throwing 100% of it.
We're talking about the greatest of all time.
You talking about the greatest of all time, and Clay's like 5th on that list.
I mean, against
I'm expecting you to shoot 40% from three if you're a top 5
3%
shooter.
away. Darn it.
Look, he went 1 for 4, 1 for 4, 3 for 10.
That adds
2
up
for
to a lot of
6.
shots.
I'm not going to disagree. Say it one more time. And against Boston, what was
He
the
went
numbers?
I'm just gonna name his threes. He went 3 for 7, 1 for 8,
That's good,
5
Dad.
for 13, 4
Mid.
for 10,
Mid.
5 for
Not
11.
bad. 4 for 10's good. Go ahead.
5 for 11.
Good.
2 for 8.
Mid.
But
Again,
most
that-
of the
and
majority were
what about
better
the
than better than
Celtics?
worse.
Oh my god, bro, he was going 4 for 19, 7 for. No, that was Boston.
That was the Boston
He's going
series?
4
Yeah.
for 19, 7 for 17. He's supposed to be the number 2 guy. I'm not even gonna talk about Denver. They had Facundo and Campazzo.
Yeah, for sure.
Can
He ate. He went crazy against
19,
Denver.
21, 26, 32, 15.
He's
They
ignoring.
all
He's
ate.
ignoring the good series. Got it.
No, they had
I'm on you.
Campazzo and Rivers.
know.
They all ate against Denver. Like literally, they all
they
ate.
did.
Yeah, Claire, hopefully.
Drew, can you fix the light?
Oh yeah, dude. Sorry.
I'll
about
see.
that.
We'll see what happens. I think this offseason is going to be really interested to see
Blowing
who
now.
gets traded.
I mean, you could have the most roster shakeup in a single team out of the whole NBA. Damn near. You
Toronto,
got half the
Golden
roster under
State.
question.
Portland. There's a lot of teams that could just shake shit up.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be interesting, man.
Now,
Curry.
Team USA has already announced some commitments for their
Gotcha.
team, for their Olympic team.
One of them better than the others.
FIBA World Cup in the Philippines, and this is Team USA so far. Tyrese Halliburton, Anthony Edwards, Brandon Ingram, Jaren Jackson Jr., Austin Reeves, Mikal Bridges, Bobby Portis, and Jalen Brunson.
Got some hot names.
This is a great team, I think.
I think one guy's the odd guy out, but other than that,
Who's the odd guy out?
it's
Bobby
Austin
Portis?
Reeves, bro. Oh, him too. Fuck. What? Yeah.
So you're gonna ignore the generational efficiency in the WCF. That's what
100%.
you're gonna do.
I'm gonna ignore
You're
that.
losing
It's
me,
wide
Riv.
open, bro.
Riv, I used to respect your opinion.
You're
You
losing.
lost
No, you're
me.
losing,
No,
yes.
bro. You lost me.
Respect to Bobby Portis,
Nah, he's-
Austin Reeves, good players. Nah,
Hey.
It's
You
not
need
what we
role
send.
players.
That's
You
not
need
what
role
we
players
No, we
here.
don't.
You're not gonna get all the fucking superstars.
That's not who
for
we
this.
send out there.
The last team,
Austin
the
Reeves
last
isn't a
team
top
USA.
75 player in the NBA.
We can send out 40 guys better than Austin Reeves, bro.
Bro, Austin Reeves fringe top 50.
We can still send out 40 guys better than Austin Reeves, bro. Maybe 50.
Don't make me keep going.
Matter of fact, let me look at the Canadian team. They might
So-
be better than that team.
Our last Team USA finished 7th place. We were horrible last
Yeah,
time.
that's why we needed Austin.
And this was the team last time we went
The
to
winner.
the Olympics. Derek White, Donovan Mitchell, Joe Harris, Marcus Smart, Harrison Barnes, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum. So they've shown they can't win on the Olympic level either. Mason Plumlee, Miles Turner, Brooke Lopez,
They have
Chris
a gold medal.
Middleton,
What are you talking about?
and Kemba Walker.
No, that was
Sound
that
like a
team
real
was
dummy,
stacked.
huh?
They have a gold medal.
That team was OD.
And Jason Tatum was OD.
He was great.
I'm telling you, Canada up next, man.
Some
Jamal
great
plays.
name.
Right,
Ant-Man,
well,
that's lit. Jaren Jackson, solid
I'm
man.
loving the
BI,
Tyrese and
amazing.
Ant-Man backcourt.
Yeah, that's gonna be
Facts.
You
tough.
think Tyrese starts
And Austin Reeves.
over Brunson?
And Brunson.
I think Tyrese starts
Tyrese
over
starts?
Brunson. Yeah,
You
They have
think?
no bigs.
I
They-
wouldn't be, but I
They're
wouldn't be
lacking in the
surprised.
bigs
Yeah.
department.
They are. They
Yeah,
need some big men
It's
for sure.
Jaren.
They got Jaren,
and I think
Bobby Portis. Yeah, that's really it though.
Hey man, listen, Canada. If Wiggins,
Jaren's playing 40 minutes.
if
a night.
Wiggins, Jamal, SGA play, it's
let me ask you a question.
Oh,
You,
Bi's playing.
you'll be shocked if Austin Reeves leads the team in 3-point percentage.
He'll be wide open. So no, not at all.
Is this where you're pushing now? Austin Reeves, he's good, but he just
No,
wide open.
every
now.
time he pushes the 70 true shooting shit, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say he's wide
He
open.
has-
So
He's
you're
open
mad
a
that he was
lot.
generational. He was
No.
not open that much.
He was open. No,
That-
he was
that
open
was-
a lot.
No, we look.
He hit
no,
his
we-
shots,
No,
hit
we,
his shots.
but we laugh in Miami.
He was open
but
a
Reeves was.
ton.
Reeves
He
was
wasn't
fit
shooting off
perfectly
the
in Miami.
dribble. He wasn't shooting off
No,
the
he had some
dribble.
good ones, but stop acting like that man wasn't really wide open. Like,
He's like
LeBron
that.
gravity. I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's respectable.
sure.
I'll tell you.
Respect it.
He would be great in Miami.
Now he was OD game 1 against the Nuggets. Those were not
Facts.
wide open shots.
No, he has his moments. It's just
Bro,
when
do
you
you
bring
not
up the
do you
true
not
shit-
forget that LeBron was laying on the floor? He was all disheveled and shit. Austin Reeves was like, "Don't worry, I got it."
Didn't
Just
y'all lose
pulls
that
up.
game?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay.
We did.
The Grizzlies game he won, where he took over in the fourth.
And he said, "I'm him." And then he struggled, and he came through adversity and was
Sure was
all
tough.
So
world.
Canada might have SGA, Jamal Murray, RJ Barrett, Kelly Olynyk, Dwight Powell, Alexander Walker, Lou Dortz, Dylan
Okay.
Brooks,
You're losing me. You're
Benedict
losing me.
Mathurin.
Okay.
I'll be honest. SGA could bring him to the world. And them and Jamal, they got some stoppers. They got Lou Dortz and come on, Dortz Chambers.
Dortz Chambers,
Yeah,
yeah.
respect him.
Torture
Dylan-
chamber.
Yeah, that's, hey, listen, he
It's a cool
lost.
roster.
Who else got a good ass team? I'm trying to think. Australia, what's their team?
But
look
I
like?
was the year
Oh, Steve Kerr's coaching this time around.
I'm done.
when Tatum won it.
Yeah.
When Tatum won, it wasn't with Jaylen Brown. It was a KD Olympic team.
Yeah,
I know.
that team was OD.
Yeah, that team was stacked.
OD.
It was Dame. It was
That's
Tatum, KD.
That's what-
Tatum was damn near the best player on
That's
that
Tatum
team.
was-
yeah, that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. Like when we throw out the guns, bro, nobody.
No,
Draymond was on it.
What?
Bam Adebayo.
Let's see what. Oh,
Yeah, what was that?
Devin
I think we
Booker,
talked
Drew
shit.
Holiday, Zach LaVine.
Chris
This
Middleton was on it.
Don Makers from Australia.
Yes.
Yeah, Chris Middleton, Drew
Really?
Drew Holiday,
Keldon
and
Johnson.
Keldon
You just
Johnson,
need to- you
JaVale
need to be in the top
McGee,
seven.
Yeah. Keldon Johnson was like the odd man out that year. I remember.
and JaVale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Desmond Bain and Caruso might be added.
We're done, bro.
Turn me up.
Yo, bro.
This team was made for me.
It
Nah,
was.
deadass.
Yeah, because this shit is nuts.
Caruso and Austin Reeves.
Can't wait till Caruso's back in Laker gold.
Bro, that's
God.
Caruso getting a gold medal is crazy.
This is just the qualifier,
it's FIBA.
though, right? Yeah.
It's FIBA. It's not the
You
Olympics.
still get a gold medal.
You still, I think you get a medal
I
for
don't know,
FIBA.
probably.
I think D Rose has a medal. He played FIBA. D Rose played Olympic too.
Yeah, you
Nah,
joked
D-Rose
on them
played
being in
Olympic.
seventh. You just need to be in the top 7.
He didn't play in that 2008 team.
You just need to be in the top 7 to qualify. We
He
got
didn't
the
play in
job
that
done.
2012 team. No way.
He was hurt, remember?
They
Or
was
they came out.
7.
Yeah, hey, you get it how you get
Yeah.
it. The Heat or the AC.
Yeah,
the finals.
he got a gold in FIBA World Cup 2010 in Turkey and 2014 in Spain.
Okay.
Shout out to my boy.
Because that 2012 was the Darren Williams.
Yeah, he was supposed to start on that team.
Yeah.
But he tore his ACL.
Team Canada's looking really good though.
Literally.
Like, no, bro.
Nah,
Did
it
you?
is.
Did
I
I
don't
not
think
just
I
say
didn't hear. I didn't
He
hear
just
that.
he broke down the whole team.
I know. I'm just reassuring what you said.
yeah.
You coming
Yeah,
to the
I'm
SGA party?
reinforcing what you said.
Or you just wrote
The
it?
RJ
Bro, I'm
party.
here for it, bro. Come
No,
on.
Jamal's up there.
I mean, SGA, Jamal. I mean, you know my guy RJ Barrett's on there.
Here we
Such
go.
a guy.
Come on,
So
bro.
I gotta
Am I not
support
that
him.
SGA guy now?
You're not the SGA.
Bro, I said he was first team All NBA this year.
Doesn't
You
matter.
didn't
You gotta
say
get
that.
some hard.
Casual.
You gotta get some hard work in here.
I'm gonna be honest.
fair
I was
enough.
playing 2K yesterday, and I was trying to see if I could trade Julius Randle off the Knicks.
You can't.
I think we got to run it back with him.
I got 2K for $6 today.
It's dog shit.
You
You
wasted
wasted
your
your
money.
$6.
That's $6.
So, what you telling me? I have 2K now?
Facts. I have to. Yeah.
You guys got game share?
Yeah.
You know you could have bought a sandwich. It would have been better than that 2K. You know, like dead ass serious.
It's like
bro.
$6.
Gotta be
Because I
checked
knew
out.
there'd
chickens would have been
be-
100% better than that 2K.
I knew there would be one day. I'd be like, you know what? Let me just run it up with the Celtics real quick.
You're gonna get it?
I'm gonna go play the Heat and win 200.
You're gonna be very surprised when you realize that Jason Tatum is dog shit in that game.
His form is beautiful in 2K.
Yeah,
though.
he's got a
It's
nice,
very
you know,
beautiful in 2K.
stroke.
I cannot use Jason Tatum. I can't use Devin Booker.
Wow.
There's
Oh, so
certain
you're just
players.
bad.
No, they're just not athletic.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's trying to dunk
They're
shit.
not athletic.
In 2K,
Oh, yeah.
they're just not
John
like
Moran is
superb
OD in
athletes.
2K.
Yeah, I
like,
bet.
you get to one move to
When
the
you
rim.
play 2K, it's very imperative that you're using players that can actually blow by other players.
Okay.
That's why Kawhi is not that great in 2K either, because he's very
Curry's a cheat code,
stationary.
though.
Curry's a cheat code. So
Basically
he's
because of
just because he can
shooting.
shoot.
Yeah.
Shoot from
Like
that far.
I'm with the Knicks. I'm playing with the Knicks, and I'm trying to score with Jalen Brunson. It's hard.
Sure, that's the game or that's
It could be both. If somebody,
wrong team.
maybe I gotta just look at a highlight tape of somebody just going for 30 with Brunson
Just
online.
straight middies.
But with Jalen Brunson, it's hard because he's undersized. So the only way to really score, you can't go to the basket because you get blocked. 3-point shots and mid-range shots, like you have to kind of be moving. It has to be like moving shots for him to
Sounds
really
like
go
your dog
off.
shit, bro.
Well, let's run it up tonight.
I don't play that shit.
You don't
bro.
want to play me.
I play MLB, bro. I'm locked in WWE.
Bro, tell me how I just packed Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays.
You did?
I'm him.
I'm not gonna lie, it's OD.
Yeah, Mickey Mantle sells for almost 400K.
I'm the Padres right now.
Oh, you're doing the Road to the Show?
Yeah.
Not
Are you
Road to the
doing
Show.
March to October,
March to
or-
October. That's
March
what
to
it is.
October, yeah.
March to October.
Fernando.
I'm with the Mets right now, NLCS.
Bro.
We're playing. We were playing the Padres. I'm gonna play game 1 when I get home.
I'm playing the Braves.
You can tell that it's a video game.
Yeah, that would never happen. But I'm playing the Braves right now. I won't lie. Acuna has like 7 home runs on me.
Yeah,
It's
Acuna.
game 4.
He's
Acuna
batting
is
like
amazing.
340 in real life.
No, it's
so.
like blowing mine. Like I at this point I'm walking.
Last thing we'll talk about baseball. Luis Arias. Remember when I told you to invest on him in Mojo?
Fact.
Yeah, he's batting
batting
399.
He's on some shit I've never seen before in my life.
399? Luis
Ar-
Arias.
What's that new guy that just says is a phenom? L-I.
Oh, the Reds player?
Yeah.
Dela
Yeah.
Cruz. He
He's-
just got
he's-
called up.
He's
Yes,
OD.
he's tough.
He's supposed to be OD, number
He's
4
been
prospect
killing it
in
in the
baseball.
minors, I
Yeah,
know.
I don't even
better
think
than-
we've made like a formal announcement that Mojo now has MLB.
we did make that formal announcement.
MLB
We did,
players
yeah, because
that
that's
you can
when
invest in.
you invested in Jazz Chisholm. You
Bad
invested in
investment.
Luis Arias. You're welcome.
Dog
Did
shit
you do? I
investment.
thought you
No,
did
I didn't.
Alvarez.
I don't think we ever like mentioned it on the pod.
We
We
actually
did.
I
We
might-
did. We did.
Did we?
We did.
Well, you
We
guys
did.
keep talking. I
Again,
can cheat.
remember what we said. Trust Andrew's memory from here on out. Thank you.
I don't think I've invested. Didn't you? You invest in
I
Alvarez
invested
though.
in
Alvarez.
Beatty and
Yeah, I
Alvarez.
like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I invested in
tough.
both of them. They're good.
Alvarez,
they definitely
fuck around,
moving
make
up.
an All-Star game.
So how do you spell his name?
ARREAZ.
Yeah, Luis Arias.
Yeah, no, he's been unbelievable.
399.
That's
That is something out of a
I
video
wonder what-
game when you're playing on rookie.
like the last 20 years. Who the fuck has batted for? When's the last time someone batted 400?
I think Pujols was close. I could be wrong. Ichiro was very high. I don't know if Bonds' average was ever 400. I know like Ty Cobb, that piece of garbage.
No one's batted 400 since, Jesus Christ, 1941. Ted Williams.
Yeah, Ted Williams.
Okay, so Luis Arias in the last week is up 2.46%.
Rightfully so. In all time, they have Luis Arias here. If the season ends today, he would finish with the 14th highest batting average in MLB history.
Yeah.
That is, and he's
In the
sandwiched
last
in
month,
between.
in the last month, he's down 3%.
And that's Mojo needs to turn up. And he is sandwiched in between 1922, 1939, 1927, 1929, and 1921, 1912.
Like,
when
some shit
pitchers would
happens
pitch
in 100 years.
3 days in a row. They would
9
pitch
innings.
all 9 innings so they could see this pitcher every single day and they could square him up.
So now, news. What's up with Jacob DeGrom?
Facts, bro.
John.
So
He's-
you guys talk about that for like a minute or two. Dehls, how are you feeling that the Mets didn't re-sign Jacob DeGrom now?
When it first happened, I was distraught. I mean, I'm still as sad because DeGrom, he's a Met legend. He's one of the best pitchers I've ever seen in my lifetime. And Drew and I were talking about on the way here. We're just hopeful that this has been his issue because he's had lingering arm issues, elbow issues for years and years and years. He's always been so dominant, but injuries always keep creeping up and cutting his season short. So we're hoping Tommy John, which is, I mean, it's the worst surgery you could get, but we've also seen countless pitchers come back and be even better. So we're hoping that this could be the surgery that fixes all those issues. He could come back and be the pitcher we know he can be.
In the last month on Mojo, sorry to interrupt you, Drew.
Okay,
but
man.
On the last month on Mojo, Jacob DeGrom is down 9%.
It's probably today's news. What was today?
Today, he was down 5% alone.
It's understandable.
From today's news.
And like Joel just mentioned, we've seen players like Strasburg who now actually has permanent nerve damage. That's not the best example, but he came back from Tommy John and was able to be one of the main catalysts for the Nationals to win a championship. We saw Justin Verlander last year come off Tommy John at the age of 39-40, win the Cy Young, and his team win that championship as well. We've seen pitchers come back from Tommy John and get better. They sometimes they like to say that this is like a new life for a pitcher. You're getting a brand new arm with Tommy John. The recovery process sucks, but if you're the Texas Rangers, you understand that you're in a very good position with your team. Right now, you're number 1 in your division. But then also what you can look at is this was year 1 in a contract. Get it over with now. Let him recover for this full year, and we get him back next year, God willing.
So you think right now is the time to buy the dip? Would you invest into him long term?
Yes, for sure. Understanding that when Jacob DeGrom's on the mound, he is a top 3 pitcher at worst.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm definitely in. Last season he got hurt in like the middle of July, first week of July. He was doing some shit I have never seen. His ERA was like under 1. He was getting like 2 strikeouts per inning. It was really like the best pitching performance I'd ever seen from anybody in my life.
Damn.
He's OD. He's absolutely amazing.
Is Edwin Diaz out for the season?
He is, man.
There's hopes and there's rumors and talks that if everything goes right, he might be able to be back this season.
If the Mets were playing better, maybe I'd feel a little bit
We'd have to make the playoffs for him to be back, for sure. He's not coming
They're
back.
bad
in
right
like,
now?
We're mid. We're like 500, teetering around 500.
What happened to Max Scherzer, man? Is he just cooked?
Scherzer's been fine. Verlander's been kind of mid.
Has he?
Yeah. Scherzer's turned around the last couple of games. Verlander's been kind of mid.
I'm shocked to hear that. I feel like every time I turn on
Dodged
the
the bullet.
TV, no, he
No, he didn't.
But he was hurt to start off the year.
We're
But
coming.
I want to say his ERA is like
Are you?
4.6 right now.
I don't know. Let me see. I think we lost yesterday.
The Yankees just took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers.
Who said the Dodgers?
Should turn me
His
on.
ERA is a 4.2.
Yeah, the Dodgers.
We
one
just
of the best
lost
teams in
to the
league.
Blue Jays. 1-3.
Oh, ouch.
Oh no, actually I lied. We're in the bottom of 6.
Okay, yesterday you guys smoked them. You smoked them so bad that you actually sent their pitcher down to the minors, and he was an
11-4,
Just wait till it get hot.
and we're just coming off.
You just showed me his game log.
He has a 4.3 ERA.
That's
We're
horrible.
just coming off the Angels. We were 3-1 in that series.
His hasn't been great.
Nice.
We're better than you.
No, you're not.
Oh yeah.
Be clear. I can't say that. We just got swept by them last year.
You have 36 wins. We also have 36 wins. We have less losses. We're better than you guys. Again,
Screw you.
this happens every year.
I think the Mets need to start off slow because we always start off hot and then cool down later in the year. This year, opposite. We're starting off cold and we're getting hot at the end of the
Same
year.
record
right
as
into
the
playoffs.
Angels.
Yeah, we're 500. We're 30-30. The Marlins are a game and a half above us.
Marlins. Jazz.
Marlins low-key been nice.
Bro, they're second in the division.
Yeah.
Which quarterback not named Patrick Mahomes is most likely to win MVP next season? We're going to go round table, give our picks for MVP. Dehls. Who are you going with? 2023 season MVP. Can't go Mahomes.
You see, the people don't know this, but we started the show late today because he was getting real disrespectful. He was getting real disrespectful about one of my guys. One of my guys I told you about. Jalen Hurts.
Oh, I thought it was Trey Lance.
Now listen. Last year, I understand, we had this little back and forth about Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, who was really the MVP. In the last couple of games when Hurts goes down to injury, Mahomes was able to steal it. But this was Hurts' MVP to win. And this year, he gets his get back. And listen, Joel, I already know you were foaming at the mouth, waiting for him to fail. That's why after those first 2 postseason games, when he struggled or, the team was winning, but he wasn't doing anything, Joel was up here riding his high horse. Oh, the team, it's a stacked roster, this and that. Then the Super Bowl came around. He had one of the best performances we have seen in a loss in Super Bowl history. I mean, 370 total yards. 4 total touchdowns.
Was it better than that
completion percentage?
The Tom Brady
he
loss?
put up better numbers than Mahomes across the board. He's gonna ride this momentum into next season and keep it going. Jalen Hurts, 2023, 2024
that just means we win.
MVP.
That just means we win.
Listen, Dehls, I think that's
Moran.
That's a good pick.
That's
a good pick. And I can't knock it because in the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts, that was the only game in the playoffs where he actually had to be extraordinary, and he was extraordinary.
That's what he does.
But listen, that's your guy.
Man.
That's your guy. Trey Lance was your guy as well.
He hasn't got an opportunity.
Straight. Yeah, Brock Purdy's better.
At least
was your guy. Relax, ain't talking about boy.
At least Zach Wilson, he was my guy. I got to see him be.
Trey Lance has 3 starts.
When it comes to Trey Lance,
what are we doing?
Your quarterback is getting taken over by the last pick in the draft. That's embarrassing.
He's got 3 starts.
Brock Purdy's better than Zach Wilson. Also respect him.
Under Kyle Shanahan's system, yes.
No, comfortably.
No. You put Zach Wilson as Kyle Shanahan's system. You know what's
like
going
Josh Johnson.
down. Listen, Dehls, I think that's a good pick. But unfortunately, you're going to be wrong again because he didn't win MVP last year. And not only did he not win MVP, he could have got his get back. But you know who? That bad man, Mahomes won MVP, a Super Bowl, and Super Bowl MVP. If they had a championship game MVP like they do for the Western Conference and East Conference Finals, Mahomes would have won that too. He would have won every single MVP there is to win last year. So you better respect Mahomes. There's a lot of disrespect coming from you. My MVP, I just got to mention some guys first, man. Because I feel so hurt not mentioning my guy, man.
6 honorable mentions.
Joe Burrow, best passer rating over the last 2 seasons. He's second in MVP odds currently.
He had the best passer rating last year?
Over the last 2 seasons, he has the best passer rating.
Oh, he just combined 2 seasons. Got
I was
it.
gonna say
if you would have just said
Herbert.
last season, that wouldn't have been true.
Or Aaron Rodgers.
Why? Because the guy who didn't play a full season is supposed to get the number 1 spot? I don't think so. I don't think you got to play the full season to get that honorary mention.
Interesting. Okay, continue.
The player I'm going with, I looked at him. He's not even top 5 in odds within these quarterbacks, man. He has the same odds as Justin Fields. Respect to Justin Fields, but he's not going to be MVP. I'm going with Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be my MVP this year. Over his last 9 games, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 69% completion percentage, 104 passer rating, 4th in EPA per play, and 2nd in success rate, only behind Patrick Mahomes. That's the entire second half of the season. You saw what Lawrence did in the playoffs. I'm a forget the first half of the Chargers game. You saw what he did in the second half. 4 touchdowns. It was a historical 1/2 performance by him. The addition of Calvin Ridley is going to open up this offense so much. And what better player to bet my money on, to put my stock in than a player who is being coached up by a coach who made Carson Wentz a damn near MVP. He was about to be MVP in 2017. I think Doug Peterson's going to do the same thing for Trevor Lawrence. You're adding an offensive weapon. This is his 2nd year in the system. The Jaguars check their schedule. It's easy peasy.
It is a light schedule.
And he's going to win MVP this year. I got Trevor Lawrence winning it all.
It could be the 1 seed.
That division's dog shit. That's like 6 wins. Could you imagine a year where just think back to a couple years ago when players like Dak Prescott, Tua, Justin Fields were being considered favorites over a player like Deshaun Watson? Can you imagine that when Deshaun's at his best? We're talking about NFL MVP odds. My pick is Deshaun Watson. I think with the offense that he has, Nick Chubb, Njoku has emerged, DPJ, They just picked up Elijah Moore. They still have the steady, reliable, consistent Amari Cooper. You still have Nick Chubb. The defense is elite. And Trevor Lawrence may have the easy schedule, but what's going to favor Deshaun Watson is when he outplays pretty much every quarterback in his division. Respect to Lamar. Respect to Joe Burrow. When he outplays every quarterback that he beats, they have a great record.
Kenny Pickett?
No. This is levels. Come on, let's be serious. My MVP is, and this is plus 3,000 odds, so this is a steal. But if Deshaun Watson is back to the form I think he's going to be at, which before he missed some time with, we're not going to speak on that situation. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. His ability to do it with his legs and with his arm was unprecedented. Now he's back. He got the reps, and you saw him in practice the other day. He was throwing bombs. I know you see the vid, Dehls.
The June highlights.
You saw the vid, Dehls. It looks real beautiful.
Stop it like you weren't gushing over some Rodgers highlights going to like
fire.
four
But
stringers.
my pick for MVP, I think, is going to be Deshaun Watson. I think I'm going to pick him. Plus 3,000 odds. His team is stacked. It really is up to him. If he's back to form, the Cleveland Browns can be a dangerous team in the AFC. So my pick is definitely Deshaun Watson.
If you had any doubt who my most valuable player was going to be, just refer back to earlier in the show when I told you we were going to talk about this a little later. It's Mr. Tua Tagovailoa.
I thought you would pick a good player.
Oh, it's funny you say that because last year I told you guys that he was going to play great, and he did. And he exceeded all your expectations.
You tell me. I wasn't here.
Oh, no, you're done. You're done. You're done. Told me he wasn't a starting level quarterback. Told me that he wasn't good.
I did not tell you that.
I'm talking about the table, River Brown. I don't know if I want to dap you anymore because you're supposed to be part of Fin Fam. Yes.
I like Waddle and shit.
Congrats. It means nothing to me. 3,500 yards last year, 28 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Yeah, you mentioned it. Missed some time. Imagine what the stats would look like if he didn't miss those 4 games. You want to talk about a guy who led the league in passer rating. Number 2 in EPA, Joel's favorite stat that there is in the game, of course. So to be number 2 to Patrick Mahomes, the guy who allegedly will be the MVP again.
Favorite. He is the favorite.
Correct. But I'm going to go with Tua because I look at the way that he has put the work in this offseason. You see it, the results in his body. He's coming in more bulky, ready for this upcoming season, understanding that's a grueling season, needs to put a little bit more weight on. That's exactly what he did. Tyreek Hill, of course, Jalen Waddle, Devon O'Shane. We're talking about one of the fastest offenses in the game. We're seeing that this offensive line, pretty similar to last year. Connor Williams is right now sitting out due to a contract issue, even though he just signed his contract last year. Kind of lost me with that one. But overall, I just believe in the progression of Tua Tagovailoa. We saw it. This past season was a preview. Just a little trailer to the full-fledged Oscar performance that we're about to see in 2023, 2024. It's about to be magical.
Have you seen in practice they have a camera on his helmet so that
Mike can see his eyes?
That's very tough.
Very.
Never seen that before.
Brady used to do it, bro.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Mike McDaniel's trying to make it as easy as it is for Tua, so he has a lot of control within that system.
You say that because it's crazy. It's funny. The big issue was that Tua can't throw the ball long. Yeah, that's a concern, man. You have Tyreek, you have Waddle. How can he be your quarterback when you have these receivers and they can't push the ball down the field? Okay, X that narrative. Dude can't play in cold weather games. X that narrative. This guy can't be a starting level quarterback. X that narrative.
What cold weather game was he good in?
Buffalo Bills.
He wasn't good in that game.
Yes, he was.
He had a negative EPA, bro. Just go look at it.
It's not even. We're talking about the two biggest plays of the game are plays that Waddle made.
Derek Carr is plus 4,500.
I was going to ask, who is your under the radar if you guys didn't pick some? We all picked some. I guess Tua prize the longest odds of plus 1,400.
No, it's Deshaun.
Deshaun was 3,000.
3,000.
Yeah, that's nuts. Who's an under the
Long
radar?
shot. All right, this is insane. If I do
I think
firmly
it has to
believe,
be Derek Carr.
It's Daniel Jones.
No.
Russell Wilson
could
plus
be done.
3,500.
There it is, brother.
Jordan
There
Love
you
plus
go.
3,500.
I
don't
would
know.
love
I
a
would
skill
not do
position
that for
player to win it. That's why I feel like long shot. My first immediate thought would be Jettis.
He's the only one.
Another
Plus
one.
10,000.
This is insane for the fact that he is a rookie, but I believe Bijan Robinson, man, with the way that he's about to
for MVP.
basically control the offense. Running backs, the last skill position player to win the MVP was a running back. It also happened to be one of the greatest seasons that we've ever seen in our lifetimes in Adrian Peterson. Exactly. And with this division, it's not crazy to think that Atlanta could win the division if he's the best player, if he puts up historic numbers. But
Dehls,
of course,
I'm going to shoot you a flyer.
Okay.
Brock Purdy's at plus 7,500.
I swear to God, that if I'm going for a long shot, it'd be Brock Purdy because that's going to be a team that's going to have the first or second best record in the
They're
NFC.
gonna have 11 wins,
He's
12
going to
wins.
put up the numbers.
Russell Wilson, man. Don't sleep.
No,
Plus
don't
35.
listen.
Don't sleep.
Trey Lance cool, and I will never disrespect, you know what I'm saying. But Brock Purdy, man, he's
He's him.
He's going to start.
he starts and he
Whether I like
throws
it or
like
not.
30 TDs and like.
Who would you
yes,
rather invest in, Jordan Love or Brock Purdy?
No, it'd still be Jordan Love.
You'd rather invest in Jordan Love than Brock Purdy.
Higher ceiling, more money.
Higher ceiling.
Isn't Jordan Love like $14?
He is, and Brock Purdy is
Purdy's
9.
Yeah, sure.
9? I just think I don't know.
I think I'd invest in Purdy. I like the situation more.
I think Purdy's always
going
gonna have his peak though, or like a cap on his ceiling. I think Love's ceiling is really high. So if he does, I would probably gamble. Gambling.
I'm shocked to hear that, but okay.
No, I love Purdy. I think Purdy's amazing, but I also understand he has. A
So you
ceiling.
think Jordan Love can be amazing?
I do think Jordan Love can be amazing. I just don't think he will be.
You don't think he can?
So why are you going to invest in him if you don't?
Because I'm a gambler, so I got to gamble on the chance. You know what I'm saying? But
I don't know yet. Verdict side out.
but
I
Purdy,
need to see it. Look, you're big. I need to see it, guy. That's me with Jordan Love. I need to see it.
You know, Dehls, last year when Tua had his worst stretch of
Why
the
is Kyler
season,
Murray up here?
Yeah, I don't know.
Come back midseason, change the
weeks
Cardinals.
11 through 18, because Tua had a cupcake schedule early on, and that's a big reason why the EPA and efficiency numbers were amazing. They were inflated by games versus the Lions and et cetera. Like
and
that.
Baltimore.
Bad teams.
Don't forget Baltimore.
Like Houston as well. He had a lot of dropped interceptions versus Houston.
Mhm.
Weeks
It was
11.
actually the Steelers that.
Weeks 11 through 18 versus
After the
Texans too.
concussion.
Weeks 11 through 18,
Thank you.
Tua was 28th in EPA per play.
Mm.
Wasn't very good.
No.
And it's because he was facing tougher defenses. Well, Dehls, do you want to know who has the third toughest schedule in the NFL this year?
Who is it?
The Miami Dolphins.
Oh. Good.
I want that.
So
Tua.
when we talking about the Dolphins and the schedule they're going to play against, oh, man. I hope that the worst player that you've named at this table actually has a chance to even be considered within the top 5 of the discussion.
Remember when we had this
'cause it won't
exact same
happen.
conversation last year and you laughed at me?
I remember when you
Remember?
brought out your notebook prematurely week 2, and then you didn't
Was
talk
it
about Tua
prematurely?
after
Was it
that.
week two?
Not true at all.
10 plus,
What do you mean?
It was after the Baltimore
historic-
game.
He was great for
So, yeah.
10 weeks.
and nothing happened.
And then he got hurt.
How did the season
Terribly.
finish? He was horrible.
He got hurt. He
In
had
the
three concussions.
in the latter in December, he was horrible.
He was playing through concussions.
Before Green Bay, he had 2 straight stinkers.
Again, he had a concussion before that. That was his third.
He didn't have, but I'm talking about the stretch when he played
I gotcha.
San Francisco and
I
the Chargers.
gotcha.
He was not hurt. He was just dog shit.
He was coming off his second concussion.
No, he wasn't.
Yes,
he suffered.
he was.
He suffered. His
second
first
concussion was
was
against the Bengals.
Yes, that was on Thursday Night Football.
Correct.
He came back against the Steelers.
Correct, and he was not good
was
against the
missed.
Steelers.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that his second concussion was weeks before the San Fran and Chargers games. He wasn't injured no more.
You still feel the remnants, especially when it's your second of the season. And then he got a third and shut it down.
So we're using that really. So that's the excuse for not being good.
I think it's definitely both. I think you can look at concussions. That's going to have an impact on it. But it's also, I don't think, a coincidence that he played a relatively easy schedule.
He played tougher
the first
teams
2
and started
months,
to be.
and then
ass.
he played some real defenses, and he struggled mightily in some
Isn't
of those
it crazy
games.
how we look at every sport and coaching matters, right? Coaching matters. Against the Charger, whose defense is not good at all, they schemed an excellent game against McDaniel's, his
called
offensive
that.
scheme, and he got absolutely locked.
Yep.
That wasn't on Tua. They
Versus the
simply had
Chargers?
no answer.
They did. The
Those-
answer
remember I
was to
called
throw
that
to the
game.
boundaries, and Tua wasn't
They
attempting
weren't.
that throw.
Nothing was working because the guys could not get off the line. They were playing press, and it was too much.
Versus the Chargers, they were open. The adjustment was they started sending receivers out to the boundary, and just Tua does not throw outside the
And then
numbers.
the offensive line really was poor too. But again, he was doing with the match of 3 concussions.
Kirk Cousins is plus 5,000.
Yeah, that they're stealing your
Rightfully
money.
So
Stealing your money.
hold up. Let me ask you just unbiasedly.
So we're gonna blame that. So we're
Un-
gonna blame
That shit was
unbiasedly,
hilarious.
unbiasedly, Riff,
Ew.
Dehls.
Yes.
The concussion versus Cincinnati happened in week 4.
Okay.
He faced San Fran week 13. I'm blaming week 4 on week 13 him playing bad. So that means versus Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland, Houston, the 4 games he was amazing. What?
I'm with you. Listen, you told me week 13, right? Against San Fran. He had a bad game against San Fran.
And
sure.
week 14 as well.
Against the Chargers. I'm more so blaming coaching for that one. On top of 2 bad performance as well. No doubt. Both can coexist.
After that, the Bills game, he performed well, and then he had another concussion.
If you want to,
Because he started that game against the Packers, fantastic.
If you want to tell me versus Green Bay, then that game, that's why he played bad. I'm not going to give you no pushback, even though I disagree with that statement too.
Even though he had a concussion.
But he was making mistakes throughout the game that led to
not before the concussion.
There were mistakes down the game.
Concussion.
Yes, there were. Yes,
no, there were not.
Yes, there were.
After the concussion, that's when his mistakes.
But
really
whatever,
came out.
I'll give it to you. I'm not going to blame a week 4 injury on why he played bad versus San Fran Chargers and versus the Bills. He was not very good.
He was.
Mostert had like how many rushing yards?
He wasn't what he was earlier in the season.
No,
he was not.
But again,
good.
the Bills
He was
in
painfully
Buffalo, on the road, in the cold, in the snow.
He was painfully average. He was in that game. The two biggest completions of the game. The Waddle big time throw to the right side.
He left the field winning.
The ball, and then it was a crossing route where Waddle was wide open. He got to into the house.
He left the field with the lead. His defense could not hold.
And versus the San Francisco 49ers and the Chargers,
he was bad. No points. He was bad.
He was horrible.
We'll see this year. Do you have their schedule up the first couple weeks?
I do. You want to do their schedule?
Are we doing their schedule?
I mean, we could.
I'm happy to.
Let's do it.
I don't see why not.
I am happy to. You know me. I never run from shit.
Count.
Okay. Miami Dolphins 2023 schedule prediction. The Tua will be MVP. And Drew,
of course,
is going to predict their schedule. So
my brother.
Drew right here will predict the Dolphins schedule. He has Tua winning MVP. So I'm expecting 13 games. I expect 13 games. Let's go through it. At the Chargers.
At the Chargers, that's a win.
At the Patriots.
That's a loss. Even though he doesn't lose to them. What am I saying?
Yeah.
He doesn't lose to them. That's a dub.
Versus the Broncos.
At the Chargers, tough game, though. Say that one more time.
I mean, last time he was at the Chargers,
Struggled.
he got embarrassed.
Yeah.
He had one of the worst first halves I've seen in quarterback history.
That's actually, in my opinion, his second worst game. I think the worst game I look at would probably be that Bills game, his
Week
rookie
17,
season. And that too, week 17, last game against Tennessee.
It's almost like when the pressure's at his highest, he just plays horrible.
But he played well against the Bills.
Okay, we're doing the schedule. Here we go.
So at Chargers, to have that as a win.
Damn, that's tough. That's really not a home field. I'm going to keep the W, yeah.
2-0.
You got to win against the Patriots. Versus the Broncos.
Pulling at heartstrings.
I gave him a dub. I gave him a dub when I did mine also. So, yeah, this is a win.
At the Bills.
That's a loss.
Versus the Giants.
Damn, they play my guys.
You thinking about that?
Yeah, they should win this one.
4-1.
Versus the Panthers.
It's a win.
5.
At the Eagles.
That's a loss.
5-2.
Versus the Patriots.
That's a win.
6-2.
At the Chiefs.
That's a loss.
6-3.
Versus the Raiders.
That's a win.
7.
At the Jets.
At the Jets, maybe you guys will actually get one.
We won last year.
With Tua playing?
Oh, is he going to be playing this game? Who knows?
Don't do that. Don't do
all
that,
due
you
respect.
prick. I'm going to go at the Jets. This is a loss.
Versus the at the Commanders.
Sneaky good defense. And by sneaky, there's nothing sneaky about it. They're like that. I'm going to go win, though.
Versus the Titans.
Should be a win.
9.
Versus the Jets.
This is a win here. It's split.
10.
Versus the Cowboys.
I'll go loss here.
At the Ravens.
Back to back. At the Ravens. It's in. So, I'm sorry.
It's at Baltimore.
Go back one, though. It's in Dallas or it's in
Miami.
I'll go win against the Cowboys. I'll go loss against Baltimore.
Versus the Bills to close out the schedule.
That's a win because they're going to split.
11 wins. 11-6.
11 wins, and you were very generous with a lot of the wins.
Like which ones?
The Cowboys, there's a chance the Bills sweep them. If it's week 18 versus the Bills and it's a must-win for Josh Allen and them.
Tua came back from a concussion and still beat them. Okay, hush. And which other ones?
It's just because it's not moving me. That's why I hush. It's just not moving me.
That was the week after he threw 6 touchdowns also.
I'm going to go back to the beginning schedule. Having them beat the Chargers in LA, that's very generous considering what we saw last time.
It's not really home field
It
advantage.
could go either way.
And the Chargers got better too.
It's not home field advantage.
And we're
because their
talking
home
about the
field
Chargers week 1 where they're going to be at their healthiest. When they faced the Dolphins, they were unhealthy as hell, and they still smacked
And they
you.
also have the whole
Well,
offseason
they still
to
smacked the
get ready
Dolphins.
for that week.
So I think Chargers, they can be at the healthiest.
Again, and
that's
the
a
Dolphins'
generous win.
Defense is significantly better than last year.
Sweeping the Patriots, I think that's a bit generous. It can go either way.
That's all they've done.
been doing that.
It could
That's
go either
all
way.
they've done.
Chargers is generous. Broncos is generous, but I can see the
Could go either
Broncos.
way.
I appreciate
you know,
that.
It can
I
go either
appreciate
way.
the generosity, right?
It's a tough schedule.
The Cowboys is generous.
division
The
matchups,
Ravens
yeah. It'll be
is
fun.
you had them losing, but
Tough,
those are
yeah.
4 losses that they can have right there. And then splitting against the Bills and the Jets. That's two more, so that'd be 6 losses.
So you're just gonna give them all the 50-50 spells.
I mean,
I
all,
gave
when it
Maybe they'll be
comes,
5-11.
I mean, listen, Dehls, when it comes to 50-50 games, the teams that usually win are the teams with the better quarterback, and they'll be walking into every game with the worst quarterback. What are we talking about here?
Again 6 touchdowns.
He's worse than
Lamar. He's not better than Lamar.
Who's better?
But he came out and won.
Who's better, Lamar or Tua?
Again, the answer was Lamar, and the Dolphins still won.
Who's
that
better,
game.
Justin Herbert or Tua?
Again, that was the one. That was the one instance
the
where
one.
they got it.
Who's better, Jalen Hurts or Tua?
Oh God.
Ken, I gave it to the Eagles.
L.
He did, yeah. He said
Did you
What
listen
about
to me?
Russell
No, we're
Wilson?
gonna punch it on them.
Russell Wilson or Tua?
Tua.
You expect? So you don't think Russell's going to bounce back?
You
He
do
is.
think he's
He
gonna
is.
bounce
He
back,
is.
yeah.
But again, Tua is my guy. I love Russ. That is also my guy. I'd rather a gun to the head.
Who are you gonna be rooting for in these Giants, Dolphins, Broncos, Dolphins game, bro?
Broncos.
Giants, Dolphins.
Dolphins.
I expect that.
Yeah. It's my dad's team.
Quarterbacks win, man. And we got Aaron Rodgers, baby.
This was a Dolphins prediction.
It's going to be
not
a
Jets.
sweep.
I hope, but probably not. Let's be honest.
Now it will.
Okay.
It will. We got the players. We got the talent. We got the coach.
I would agree.
You have the
with
quarterback. That's really the main
We
important.
got
thing.
the quarterback. We got Aaron Rodgers. And we got a motivated Aaron Rodgers, by the way.
that. Pissed
You know,
off, Aaron Rodgers.
I know Drew is over here thinking that,
Shit's
I
sweet.
see the look in his eyes.
went from pretty
he's
much,
he's probably thinking, man, I just wonder what the Jets will look like if they have a similar collapse to the Broncos. It's not happening.
Have I even brought that to light at all?
I can see it in your
Pretty
eyes.
much the jump from Zach to Aaron Rodgers is Bergen Community College to Harvard.
Yes. God's honest truth.
It's a seismic leap.
Oh my God.
It's enormous in the
honest
NFL.
truth.
I have not preyed on the Jets' downfall, not even a little bit, because
You
Joel
did giggle
thinks-
at it though.
To what?
Their downfall.
What do you mean?
When they went 0-5, you giggled.
Oh, that's different than
Deservedly.
Aaron
Zach
Rodgers.
Zach Wilson giggled 100%.
Deservedly.
No, I'm talking. Okay, yeah. When they play bad, it is what it is. I never want them to play
I know,
bad.
you know.
But I asked the question: could they go on 5? I got scolded.
got
I got
yelled
yelled at. Call me an idiot.
I think you're
Said
fine.
I was stupid.
You were at the time.
I
It was
think-
crazy.
I think you're more
No, it
than
wasn't crazy.
You're more
Oh.
than ready, or you're more than able, whatever, to get upset at the 0-5 and the Zach Wilson shit.
Yeah.
Because both of them, we weren't just we weren't like making a prediction. We were coming at you personally as a man.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Respectable.
All right, thank you.
That is a good point.
I don't know why
Said
Dehls
Zach
had
Wilson
that much
is-
confidence with the Jets. We're the Jets.
Once-
I always expect
Well, Mike
things.
White got hurt. What am I supposed to do?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
We
that's
saw what
the
happened
day.
when Zach Wilson came
Oh,
back.
get
in.
out of here.
That was the end
Oh,
of that.
get out
real
of here.
quick.
We
Zach
already said
Wilson,
it. 43rd in EPA.
EPA.
Zach
No,
Wilson
he's
gave
dog
us a
shit.
chance versus the Lions.
Barely.
How about you relax?
He was so
How
mad
about
against
you
the
relax?
Lions. Remember that?
Acting-
Was
Look
that
at
the
this
inter-
guy.
Was that the
He's expecting
interception
Mike
where
White
he
to
went
save
to the
the
right,
season.
threw it all the way back to the left,
Okay.
and just was a fucking
Okay.
layup interception?
Okay. Listen,
Derp,
our
derp,
defense was
derp,
carrying
derp,
us to the
derp,
wins
derp.
anyway. So you were expecting us to not go
Mike White was
winless. Yeah, versus the Vikings.
And the Bears.
It was oh yeah.
Don't forget that.
The worst team,
Can't
the
wait
worst
to eat this
defense in the
burger at
league, and a
home.
defense who had 8 starting
Did you
players.
finish?
Zach
injured.
Wilson was pretty mid against the Lions.
No.
Nah,
The defense turned up in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
It's not the
coincidentally
same.
when it played
I
the
wish he would have
Jets,
played the Vikings. It would have been a confidence booster to his
he would
morale.
have put up 200 yards and interception and no touchdowns.
And we would have won the game because he's a winner. And we were 5-3
Braxton
before he
Berrios
got
just caught
benched.
that ball at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Just right in his hands.
Oh yeah.
Glad
It
he's
was
on the
right
Dolphins.
in
Maybe
bread
Zach
basket.
Wilson would have threw a better ball in there.
I doubt
That's
it.
what
I
would've
actually
happened.
fucking doubt
Zach would have threw it too hard. It would have
Look
went
at
over
this
his
guy.
head.
it. He would
You
have
relax on
put
Zach
it in the
Wilson
dirt.
now. You relax on Zach Wilson now.
This guy wants me to relax when all he just did was slander Tua. Said that I'm not going to blame his concussions for him playing poorly.
Now that shit was
No,
borderline.
you're not.
Hilarious,
Yeah, from
but
week
ridiculous.
week 4 game to week 13. What are we talking
and
about?
I agree with you. The San
I
Fran
told you I'm
Chargers,
gonna give you the Green Bay game, no doubt. Like I'll give you that, but we're not gonna. We're
you
not
tried to say the mistakes were there. The mistakes were there.
because
The
I
mistakes
honestly
were really after the
because
concussion.
but
Wasn't the
I
interceptions after
honestly-
the concussion?
Yes,
Yeah.
all three of them.
I honestly believe had that not happened, he probably would have still thrown his interceptions. I do believe it.
I mean,
I do believe it.
You're just
That's
you're-
what I believe.
With all due respect, you're guessing.
I'm not guessing. He didn't even get put out the game at that point, bro.
Oh my God.
It's
Well,
not.
I mean,
if
Tua
something
gives
was
him the
really
best-
wrong, he probably would have went out the game at that point.
Tua gives them the best chance to win.
If they don't have, because they have Skylar Thompson and Teddy Bridgewater, who when his first game he did start, he got injured outside of Minnesota when it was against the Jets. What I'm saying is that I'm not gonna blame a Week 4 concussion on a Week 13 bad performance. That's not what's gonna happen.
No, he had
because he was great before then.
Agreed. No,
because he was once the game Pittsburgh, the first game he came back, he was not good. If you want to say that's the reason why he was bad,
Correct.
I won't give you no pushback on that. But for you to say that a Week 4 concussion is the reason why he was bad Week 13, hell no, I'm not giving you that.
I'm not saying that, and I'm leveling with you.
That's all I'm saying.
No, I agree.
That's all I'm saying.
No,
I
we're
ain't
saying the
saying
same
nothing
thing.
else.
We're saying the same thing.
I ain't saying nothing else.
We are saying the same thing.
We're going to predict another schedule. It's going to be the Giants schedule, and you're going to do the honors of predicting that schedule as well.
I don't miss.
But before we do that, I mean, what is the addition for Darren Waller going to do to this Giants offense? There's a lot of news coming out of OTAs right now that he's been a standout at OTAs currently. And
we seen a Darren Waller looking like the other day.
Facts.
Yeah, apparently played in the XFL.
So, and with that, do you think Darren Waller is going to transform this Giants offense around?
This is exciting because now we're finally getting a strong weapon in New York for Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has been begging and pleading, hands and knees, please, front office, get me a wide receiver, get me a tight end, any type of weapon at the wide receiver, tight end position that I can trust, that I can rely on. You went and you got Darren Waller. Upgrade at this point in time, nevertheless, but you would have liked this a little bit sooner. Darren Waller, these last couple of seasons, not the best. Under 400 yards last year, under 700 yards the year prior. Did have injuries in both of those seasons, if I'm not incorrect there. But 2 years before that, both seasons back-to-back over 1,000 yards. I believe over 1,100 yards, if I'm not mistaken either. So it's an upgrade because, again, you had nothing, and now you're getting Darren Waller, who at one point in time was elite. And even still at this time, you could look at Darren Waller as the top 5 tight end. Not saying much ultimately because the tight end position is kind of weak at this point in time. But at the top of it, the top 3, you got Kelsey, you got Kittle. You probably throw Pitts in there out of respect. Andrews, of course. But then after that, that's where it kind of gets weak. I'm forgetting a name. Hawkinson, facts. And then that's probably when you slide in. You probably slide in Waller after that, just due to his lack of production in these last couple of years. But of course, this is an upgrade. You needed a weapon, any type of weapon for Daniel Jones. He likes that intermediate pass. But then that's when I look to their draft pick this year in Jalen Hyatt, someone that can actually take the top off, someone who's fast. I'm very high on Jalen Hyatt prior to the draft because I believe in his speed. I understand that the big knock is that he's not this meticulous route runner, no doubt. I understand that, but of course, he went to the right coach with Brian Daboll, someone that can draw up a scheme that drew up wide open plays for guys that are definitely nowhere near as fast as Jalen Hyatt is. And now Daniel Jones has a deep threat that he can actually trust. So that's what I look for the Giants to improve their offensive game.
There's been no indications of progress between Saquon and the Giants, and that's huge.
That's the unfortunate part.
And I
of
think that's what's going to open up this game more. You know, I think having Darren Waller is great, and I think if he's back to that form, you know, that's perfect for you guys. It opens up the offense more.
You guys, I like that.
You said we, so it opens up the
Did
offense.
I say we?
Fuck,
popped.
I was gonna call you out.
You should have.
Nah, I'm gonna let you live.
Okay.
And I think it opens up the offense. If Jalen Hyatt can come in rookie day one, impact the game, I think that's good. But I think all of this really relies on Saquon. If Saquon is not there, you know, Daniel Jones doesn't have that safety blanket. The guy who pretty much carried your offense last year, the guy who's the most important player on your team last year, you know, the guy who got them to the playoffs. So I think that's the most important thing. I do think Darren Waller has the tools. You know, he's big, strong, physical. He's a red zone threat when he's healthy. He's a big time play guy. When he's healthy, the problem has always been he's been unhealthy. He's been inconsistent, but the numbers weren't there for him. But I think if Saquon is back, you know, and then you have Darren Waller, you have Jalen Hyatt, Hodgins is still there, I believe. You have them. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good core. That, especially that's them first 8-9 games.
It's decent.
It's good, but the first 8-9 games is tough. You need everybody
a lot
healthy.
Of road games.
You need everybody at their best. So I think having Darren Waller is good. You know, in theory, it's a good idea, but he needs to be healthy for them to even have a chance at winning a lot of these games.
Yeah, there's reports out of camp is that Darren Waller and Daniel Jones are connecting. They're building a relationship.
It's Giants defense.
So
high
possible.
Key could be the reason.
That is also possible. The Daniel Jones thing is interesting because it really is the chicken or the egg. He was 40th in ADOT last year at 6.5. He was 31st in completions of 20-plus yards, but I mean, their average 40 time was like a 4.6 or 4.7. They had no deep threat whatsoever. And Jalen Hyatt, like you mentioned, is a big reason, I think, for optimism for Giants fans, because you went out and you paid Daniel Jones $40 million. So I think we're over at this point seeing progression and seeing him getting better. At this point, he has to be a borderline top 12 quarterback, top 10 quarterback almost every single week. You're paying him like that. There's no more rookie scale contract. So you're expecting him to go out there and play like the contract you gave him. And Darren Waller is a great start. I mean, this is a guy who has been injured for the last couple of seasons, banged up really throughout his career. But we saw his last full season on the Raiders. He was phenomenal. He was a top 3 tight end at his position. And I think he's a perfect complement for Daniel Jones, who likes the intermediate. He likes short. He likes over the middle of the field. And I think this is damn near one of the perfect players you get from out of the guys that were available. I think Jalen Hyatt might be the one person that could really open up this offense, though, because I do think Darren Waller is going to make life easier for Daniel Jones. But more than anything, Darren Waller is just going to make what Daniel Jones is good at even better, which is being accurate, finding guys open in space. But Jalen Hyatt's really going to be able to progress Daniel Jones into potentially more of the quarterback we know him to be now. Right now, I think we could all agree that, first of all, his mobility is underrated. He's one of the best mobile quarterbacks in the game. He's accurate, and he finds the open guys. But the one thing we look at to see he can improve on is his deep ball, which, again, didn't have a ton of attempts, and also being able to throw guys open and make contested catches. So I think the two big moves the Giants made, bringing in Hyatt and bringing in Darren Waller, is only going to help his game.
I think Daniel Jones is who he is as a quarterback. He's a solid game manager. And last year, he wasn't aggressive at all. His ADOT was amongst one of the lowest. His on-target percentage was first in the NFL at 81%.
You have a low ADOT.
It makes sense because, you're targeting the sticks. You're not throwing it deep. So it's understandable why he was on target that often. When I look at Daniel Jones and I look at Darren Waller and I look at this pairing, most importantly, when I look at the offense that Brian Daboll wants to run, coming from the Patriots system, coming from coming from coaching with Mike Kafka, who's now in KC's the OC for them, what did the Chiefs do best last year? They were one of the best teams out of 12 personnel. Travis Kelce's their number one receiving option. They didn't have a true wide receiver number one. When you look back to New England in their time there, when Brian Daboll was the OC, the number one options were tight ends. It was Gronk. It was Aaron Hernandez. That's what they were targeting most, and their receivers were never these ground-breaking number one receivers. Edelman was a great slot, but I wouldn't call him a true number one. The Giants are doing something similar. Some of that has to do with no real wide receiver one being available. I also think that given how much they're paying Daniel Jones, having to negotiate a contract for Saquon, they can't afford to get a wide receiver one anyway. But I think this type of offense can win. I don't think the only offense that can win is having 2-3 megastars at wide receivers. I think KC showed, of course they have Mahomes, but they showed if you have a good offensive system and you have good players to execute it and you have players filling their roles, you can still have a top offense. And when I look at the Giants receivers, I think Isaiah Hodgins' depth chart, his spot in the depth chart is solidified.
Agreed.
I do. I think Darius Slayton got a vote of confidence, getting a 2-year extension.
I wish not.
And I understand the disdain for Darius Slayton, but I'm sorry to tell Giants fans this. The harsh truth and the reality is that Jalen Hyatt might not be better than Darius Slayton year one. He might not. I think Jalen Hyatt right now is getting second-team snaps with the offense, and
Jettis was getting third-team snaps at one point.
I understand, but I'm not going to compare Jalen Hyatt to Justin Jefferson.
What a fucking time, man.
Jalen Hyatt is someone that did not break out until his third year in college, and the route tree was very minimal. He was an older player, and that's why he dropped so much in the draft, because his route tree is so limited. And I think when you look at Hodgins and Slayton and the addition of Paris Campbell, I've been high on Paris Campbell since last year.
That's a hot move,
his main thing has been staying healthy. He's always been injured.
Receivers.
I think Paris Campbell is somebody who can threaten the defense vertically. They brought back Sterling Shepard, Wan'Dale Robinson coming off an injury.
Ray Sterling can stay healthy because Daniel and him have a really good connection.
I understand that these receivers aren't nothing to rave about, but Jalen Hyatt to move up and now be a starter, I think he's going to have to show he's not a raw receiver, which at this point I think he is. But Darren Waller, Daniel Bellinger, they're going to run a lot of 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets, and I think these two can have a lot of success. And that's going to be their bread and butter. I think Darren Waller He's going to lead this team in receiving yards.
For sure.
He's going to lead this team in touchdowns, and he's going to go back to his top 5 tight end form. Granted, he can stay healthy, but that's what they're going to run. They're going to run a tight end heavy offense. It's worked before. I think Brian Dable knows how it can work now. And Daniel Jones, he's an accurate quarterback. He's not aggressive, but you play to his strengths. And what I'm curious to see most is now that he's gotten paid, now that you're committing $40 million a year to Daniel Jones, is he going to be top 5 in rushing attempts this year like he was last year? Last year, he was on a 1-year deal. The Giants were rushing him because they had no other choice. But now this year, when you want to protect that big of an investment, how aggressive are you running the football? I think that's going to dip down and they're going to pass it a little bit more.
I think because we have sat on this show and we've gone over the fact that this is basically a 2-year deal, 2-year prove-it deal. Yes, you're allocating a decent amount of money to him, $80 million, but this is a 2-year deal. And I think that with that in mind, we understand that running is a strength of Daniel Jones.
Yep.
It's not suddenly just going to take a huge dive because that would just negatively impact the offense, in my opinion. I understand where you're coming from. That's a solid point to make. I just think that with the fact that he was so effective last year, I believe, 800 rushing yards. He was one of the league leaders at the quarterback position in terms of rushing yards. You can't just take that away and have it, or 75% of it. You have to continue to use it and go full force because we understand that is how the Giants push the ball downfield, and that's how they continue to be effective.
Giants are tough, man. It's a tough position to be in because I like the moves they made this offseason, right? Obviously, Waller and Hyatt, Daniel Jones' contract is, when you first saw the numbers, ridiculous, but when you got the actual numbers, I think it was fine. But the thing that sucks if you're a Giants fan is you could love Daniel Jones as much as you want. You still have the 3rd best quarterback in the division, right? Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott are still better than him. I think both of those rosters are still pretty comfortably better than the Giants as well.
I agree there.
Brian Dable, though, I mean, if there's one thing he proved is he's going to get the best out of Daniel Jones, the best out of this roster. It's really just going to come down to if the Giants want to make that next step and they want to be a legitimate contender, you look right at Daniel Jones and say, you're going to have to be the person that really takes us over the top. We just saw him have a great season, a phenomenal season. For Daniel Jones, his best season yet by far, and they got fucking smoked by the Eagles. And it wasn't from quarter 1, it was not even a game.
Second time it's happened.
And Jalen Hurts barely even threw the ball. They barely even had to try. So
and I think the worry is that, the Eagles are the same. So that same thing can happen this year where the Eagles smoke the Giants again. The Cowboys are right there in terms of their dominance over the Giants in recent years. They beat them with Cooper Rush, I believe.
It's like the Eagles draft well, so they're always going to continue to get better. And Dallas always is going to bring in new talent. How do the Giants get better? And Washington is right there. We're not going to act like they're just completely out of the race. They're always in that mid to level.
Their defense is elite.
The defense is nuts. So it's like, the situation is tough,
bullshit,
man.
Bro.
Their schedule is fucking hard, too.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck with the Giants, though. G-Man.
Facts.
We good over here.
We're going to take a look at their 2023 schedule. Giants schedule prediction, will they regress or progress? Week 1 versus the Cowboys at home. Drew.
Here we go.
At home, Cowboys have had their number. Giants just don't play that well at home, to be honest with you. I'm going to go loss here.
Week 2 at Arizona.
I think that's a win.
Week 3 at San Fran.
I think that's a loss.
Week 4 versus the Seahawks.
Good game. Very good game.
At Seattle?
No.
Home. Okay.
At MetLife.
Very good game. This one's a toss-up. We'll see how the rest of the schedule plays out, but right now I'll give them the W.
Okay.
At the Dolphins.
I said that's a loss.
At the Bills.
At the Bills, I believe that's a loss.
Versus the Commanders.
Versus, I'm going to go win.
3 and 4.
Versus the Jets.
It's not looking too good.
Tough game. I'll favor the Jets here.
At the Raiders.
I'm going to go New York.
At the Cowboys.
They
I
could
feel
split.
like they split, man.
They could split.
Just week 1 stuff. I'm going to go win here.
At Commanders.
I have them losing to the Jets. I'm going to go win here. At the Commanders.
They sweep the Commanders.
No, I don't think so.
Because you had them beat them earlier.
Yep. I'm going to go loss here.
Versus the Patriots.
I'm going to go win.
Versus the Packers.
I'm going to go win.
At the Saints.
That's a loss.
At the
Although
Eagles.
they did play them a couple years back. Daniel Jones put on a virtuoso, so did
Next game.
Saquon. You know
It's
what?
an L.
Is
It's
it?
an L.
How sure
At
are you?
Eagles, it's
Oh, no, I didn't
1,000.
say Eagles.
No,
I'm talking
yeah.
the Saints.
Oh, it's the next one.
Yeah, the Eagles is not going to be a win. Saints is tough, man. I'll go win for the Saints.
At the Eagles.
I'll go loss.
Versus the Rams.
I'll go win.
Versus the Eagles. Week 18.
Be serious.
They're not going to split.
No.
It's
I don't
honestly the
think they
Eagles could
should.
be resting.
They could rest and still
Yeah,
beat the Giants.
I
What
think
week is that?
Well, they
Week
did it this
18.
year. They
Yeah,
won.
so they can rest and
The
still beat
Giants
the
rested and almost won.
how many wins are we at now for the
8.
Giants? 8. So they're at 8 flat right now.
What week is this?
This is
Week 18.
All right, so I'm glad I revisited. I'm going to go to get them to 9. That Jets-Giants game is going to be amazing. I don't know who plays worse at MetLife, though. You guys are not a good home team.
We were great on the road last year.
Yeah, for sure.
We have Aaron Rodgers. Let's be serious. We're going to smoke the Giants.
Didn't you guys lose to the – and by you guys, because now you have Rodgers, you're automatically grouped in with Green Bay. The Green Bay Packers lost to the Giants last year.
You mean with nothing on offense?
Are you
Nothing
talking about the Giants as well?
No, with the Packers.
No, I heard you.
Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers is now playing with Garrett Wilson.
Okay, he also was playing with
And we
Christian
have an
Watson,
elite
who's not bad by any
defense.
means. He's not Christian. He's not.
And Daniel Jones is not getting
Watson.
up on our defense.
Are we going to pretend like Green Bay's defense is poor?
Their scheme is poor, yes. Joe Barry's one of the
It's
worst
also a
DCs in the
London
game.
game.
It was a London game. That's
Oh,
true.
weird. It was a good game though.
I'm going to go win against the Jets, get them to 9 because I think
What?
the Eagles will be resting and the Giants will win that game.
Rosen.
But listen, game could go either way for sure.
That's
What-
a very generous win-loss record.
outside of running back.
Game
What?
they're 9-8.
That's generous.
Oh.
I think they're a 7-win team this year.
Their schedule is difficult. It's hard. It's a hard schedule.
What unit does the Giants better than the Jets at?
Limited.
Like maybe you can make the argument for offensive line because you got Andrew Thomas there.
Barely, though, because
But the
the
rest-
Giants'
I
offensive
would say
line
the
is
rest is
bad.
not great.
I'll be honest. I'm just going off the fact that you guys are not good at home.
I was gonna say,
And I know my
but
Giants
both
fans
teams
would not
are.
be
I mean,
happy
who's
with me.
home? Who's the home there? Like,
And,
Giants.
I mean,
Oh,
we're the
Lindor.
better team.
fucking go!
Yeah, that's huge. He needed that. I'm going to say this. Giants fans that are listening right now would not be happy with me if I said the Jets would win. Especially with the fact that I know Joel has been very rude on the Giants on this show and on Twitter. So I'm going to stand with my guys. Giants are going to beat the Jets. With love, brother.
Can't win them all.
Dehls, we're Jets fans, so
We are.
we're definitely biased towards the Giants.
sure.
There's a disdain there.
Even though you said that Giants and Jets fans should come together and unite.
That was hilarious.
I was
sure
joking.
did
I was
say
not going.
You were not joking.
I was
You were
not
not
going to go
trolling.
through with
You
that.
were being 100.
I was not going to go through with that. I'd hate the Giants. I do.
Generational liar.
Now, Riv,
Talk to me,
let's
man.
get him. Let's get the NFC East guy to be unbiased about this. Let's.
Let's get the
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
who's an
lost me.
Eagles fan.
He has no disdain for the Giants.
Not even close.
If anything,
I hate the
the
Cowboys.
Eagles historically have embarrassed the Giants like the Deshaun Jackson punt return touchdown.
No, I hate the Cowboys 100%. I don't hate
Okay,
the
so
Giants have 4 championships. The Eagles have 1. But go ahead.
All right, see, this is where the hate comes.
I
Stop.
want you to start hating the Giants.
He's a
we
Jets
gave
fan. What the
Drew
fuck is it?
we gave Drew the honor of doing the Dolphins schedule.
Yeah.
That's 2 teams in a row. Let's get a little bit different perspective here.
Yeah.
Although we might finish at the same win total.
Was I not fair to the Giants
Let's do it,
here?
let's do it, let's
I
do
was
it.
so
You gave
unbiased.
them a lot of
Let's
games.
do it, let's do it.
Like,
Like
you gave them a lot.
who?
You favored them for sure.
What?
Which game? I can't remember. Which time?
Let's go back. Let's
Give
go
my
back.
time to
Okay,
shine.
I got
Okay.
you.
There you
I
go.
got you. I'll keep track.
I'll do the same thing.
Rev is predicting the Giants' schedule next season.
He didn't like it that I made it too fair.
No, he'll post you. It's okay.
No, I didn't like it that you gave them a winning record. I'm sorry.
Crying.
They're
Let
me
not
see,
gonna
let me
have
see,
one.
let me
Ronnie's
see.
Okay.
TikTok comments going up.
Rev,
Yeah.
week 1 versus the Cowboys
Cowboys win.
at Arizona,
Giants win.
1-1.
at San Fran
San Fran easily.
Exactly what I had so far.
versus the Seahawks.
At Seattle,
No.
It's in MetLife.
I'll go Seattle.
So Seattle wins on the road.
That's
Okay.
different.
At the Dolphins,
Dolphins.
at the Bills
Buffalo.
versus the Commanders. They're at home. The Giants are home.
They'll split, so Giants take this one.
Versus the Jets, both teams are home. Doesn't matter who.
Jets. That's hilarious. That both
It's
home.
going to be Giants theme though. That's a
Yeah.
home game for them.
I'll go Jets.
At the Raiders,
Oh, the Giants win.
at the Cowboys on the road,
Dallas.
at the Commanders on the road.
Who got the first one?
You took the Giants.
So Commanders,
Versus the Patriots.
Giants,
Versus the Packers.
Ooh, Giants,
At the Saints.
Saints,
At the Eagles.
Eagles,
Versus the Rams.
Giants,
Versus the Eagles.
Eagles.
6-11.
And if we give them the Week 18 game versus the Eagles because they might be resting, that's what?
But y'all gave
7-10.
him no fit. Like, if you gave him no 50-50 games.
Which ones? I think the Saints. It's at New Orleans. I think the Saints. are
Seattle, you did not give them.
better. I really like Seattle.
Okay,
this
I don't blame you. They're a very good roster, but the Giants still are a capable team. They
I
did
gave you the
beat them
Packers
last
game.
year. Oh, yeah. Okay. All
I
right.
think the Giants.
All right. All
I
right.
didn't. Well, you know what the difference was? I think Dallas sweeps.
That's
the
you had
difference.
Dallas sweeping, and you gave them the Saints game.
Yeah.
Did
that's,
you
that's
have
the real
Washington
difference.
winning one?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
I
had-
think Washington, but I think Dallas is really.
You took
fucking
you
good.
took the Giants over the Jets. You had them splitting against the Cowboys.
I don't think that's a 50-50 game.
You had them winning against the
Jets?
Seahawks
Jets
and
and
winning
Giants.
against
I
the
understand.
Saints.
Yeah, I don't
The
think
Jets
that's a
are- The Jets
50-50
are a
game.
better team on paper. We'll see what Aaron Rodgers you got that day.
So 6-11 Giants.
6-11.
I'm hoping that's the real schedule prediction.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
This guy is hilarious.
That's going to be a fun game. That Giants-Jets game is going to...
Third in the division. Well, they
Let's
were
see.
third in the division last
Is
year.
that a
amount of-
tweet
the
that
amount
you
of
added to the list of
shit-talking-
deleted tweets?
Yeah, we'll be there, guys.
The amount
What
of shit
tweets?
talking for that week is going to be nuts. Tweets. Giants and Jets fans unite. That was a new burner?
I don't know.
Oh, he hasn't tweeted about the Giants at all.
Oh, Pete! Let's go, baby!
Oh, that's huge, actually.
Yes, sir.
That's huge.
And with that, we're going to end off the show here.
Sweet.
We'll be back next time. We're
No,
going to do
I'm
our-
absolutely crying. He has no tweets about the Giants.
Who?
You.
None.
Bro, Edler was leading league in ERA. He had a 1.9 coming in.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Or your Twitter's just acting
Fucking
up?
go, man.
No, bro, you have none.
I don't think so.
Dude, did I spell Joel V. Moran wrong?
Or did you spell Giants wrong?
I mean, I like to think I'm a smart guy.
But yeah, that's going to do it for this show. Next show, we're going to do Who and How, running back edition, and talk about our breakout running backs. This was it for episode 287. You can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Pick a Side Podcast, on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.